Welcome, gamers. Welcome to Squid School. More clams, like always. Of course it's clams. Are they good clams maps at any rate? Let's find out. I am dragging up Legs and Linkling into the commentary channel. Welcome, Legs, and welcome, Linkling.
Hello.
Clamblitz, Muscle Forge, and Sturgeon Shipyard. Okay, this is modestly acceptable. So I am going to bring up our password guards, as is usual. Here is Darwin. He's a very wise pupper, owned by Soliart. And I am going to DM Legs and Linkling the password that we will be using. So you guys check your DMs and don't read it out loud.
I don't think I have your friend code yet either. So.
I'll send you that as well.
Cool, thank you.
Alright, that has been sent.
Okay.
Alright.
Give me just a minute to skip past the news.
Yep, of course.
Okay.
I'll be, well, okay, I guess pulling up the League lobby wasn't especially useful because I have to go and accept a friend request now. Okay. And do you already have me added Linkling?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I will come in and remake the lobby. So Darwin will continue to work for us, which I'm sure nobody objects to. All right. Thank you, Darwin.
Same password?
The one that I messaged you, yes.
Okay.
Summoning?
Oh, great.
Oh no, what is Hakuna summoning? Petition to keep Darwin for the whole stream.
Yeah, just like put him in the corner, it's fine.
Hello, Oreo Queen. Okay, let's figure this out.
I do not know it. I don't play clams.
Y'all don't need to know whether I have a special. You can just put that there, huh? Is that a good spot for Darwin?
You can play with I'll flex, it's fine.
And Devi, if you wouldn't mind hopping in, you would be a good person to round out the comp here. Hello, Oreo Queen. A lot of Photoshop work. Neat.
Is there a certain weapon you want me to play?
Put Darwin in top left? Nope. Play what you feel like and I will flex around you. Okay, top left is now Darwin. I wonder if there's a way to flip him. There is! Okay, now he's actually gonna get to watch.
Let's go.
Alright. I think this is better. Alright. I've got my gear. We're good. I personally never had puppers, but I was living with some people who had puppers last year. I don't anymore, but I am told that they are doing well.
I have a dog right now. She's a dog. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, the dogs are dogs. Yeah, you got your
They're
big dogs and your little dogs, but they're mostly just dogs.
They're just dogs. Stay chilling, dude.
Hi,
Oh
Annie.
boy, we get a challenge right off the bat.
Oh goodness,
Oh.
this is a mystery, right?
I mean, I recognize the Fanta Fizz, but
Yeah, and Luke is like
I don't-
2700
Yeah,
or
and Luke.
something.
I don't like that we recognize these people.
Yeah.
Alright. And I'm pretty sure the line face person was also on Mystery when we played them recently this weekend. One on right, T-Tech. They're rushing, they're rushing.
They have armor. I'm just moving.
Two
No,
on
they got
right
me.
still.
I just see Debbie.
no,
Never
I
mind.
got rushed.
Okay.
Okay, watch
was-
left ramp, they're gonna be there.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
left ramp
Okay.
and doolies are sharking below, and there's two on the left.
Watch out for missiles. I'll have missiles in a sec.
I got one.
Oh.
I jumped in too much.
Mm.
There's one.
Ow!
There's two right by the pedestal.
I know there's also one to my left. I can't turn two directions at once.
There's one coming
We
up
are
ramp.
getting someone's
Please.
game sound over the mic, by the way.
Sorry.
Still one plat, still one plat. Still plat, still plat. Got him.
Oh, there was a second.
Oh, they're low. They're low.
Good forge forward.
I have bubbles.
One on me.
I'm just gonna bubble up here.
Two trying to come up ramp. Got
Got
one.
one.
There's another.
Still ramp, still ramp.
I know.
Nice. Just T-Tech.
Oh, is this found him?
They're on plat, they're on plat.
I'm surprised they didn't get marked by the mine. Sorry, I thought they were marked. Otherwise, I would have said where they went.
They popped armor. They're coming up ramp. They got me.
Of course.
Popped jet.
It's a jet.
Oh, there's a second though.
Well, I thought I was gonna be able to pop
There's one
this
coming right side.
there. Three on left.
Man. Nice warm up batch.
Oh. Sorry if I'm not playing that well. I've not played in a
Don't
little while.
apologize, it's all good.
I'll have you know
Okay.
I did jazz hands when I said ta-da. Legitimately did jazz hands.
Is it okay to plug Darwin's Insta? Absolutely.
Darwin doesn't.
This is the best kind of shilling. Put Darwin over face cam? Oh, okay, Nug.
That's rude. Come on. I mean, I want to see Darwin too, but come on.
I'm gonna play a weapon with a little less RNG.
Your call. I mean, that is the weapon that you're playing in the VOD review, so it's the one we'll be talking about.
Yeah. Just for a little bit.
I'm probably fine with K Junior. I just like, I'm like S or S plus in like every other mode, and then I'm just like A in clams just because I never play it. So
I'll try and stagger armors with you, Debbie.
Alright. Clams was my last mode to X, but yet was my first to 2400. Oh no.
oh come
Same
on,
team.
what is this?
Oh.
Rude.
We're gonna learn today.
Real good.
Are we
If you
gonna
need
like?
something else from me, just let me know because I'm not used to this. So
No, yeah, it's all good.
yeah.
Let's try and avoid engagements until we have a couple specials to pop for it. I'm gonna farm for
cool.
armor really quickly as I can.
I'll
And
leave
then
some.
try and have either bubbles or missiles ready.
You're already overbunked.
Yeah.
One pushing me.
Are
on
they
left.
armor?
They got armor so fast. My God.
Yep, they did.
Oh, they're on me. I'm gonna.
They're on our ramp.
Yep. Oh,
Got me.
hi me. Let me jump. I got out.
Yeah, they're on left
Already
coming
on
ramp.
plat. Already on plat. Doolies.
One on ramp.
One vulnerable story.
Yep.
They dropped.
Someone else to the
Oh, they
left
got
of
me.
me.
I tried to jump
Potentially two.
Going in on left. 3 on left. 3 on left.
The one coming right.
Still one on rail. Rail.
Got one.
Nice.
Oh, they're weak.
One
Alright.
coming out.
Still clear out left. Help.
I got you.
Nice.
There you go.
I have bubbles too. But
It's just us. It's just us.
oh, don't grab it.
Got one.
Clam guy.
Still 2 looking ramp.
Yeah, I'm getting rained. Two of these are weak by
One
me.
of them
I'm
on
gonna
me.
die to rain. I did it dumb.
Dropped onto plat. On rail. They dropped off.
Oh, my fell.
Cool, I got one.
I got dualies. Okay.
Oh.
Wee.
I keep like jumping in when and dying, and I'm like, oh, I should. I keep doing that in my VOD review. So
Wait,
it's funny,
you're
but-
saying that you're dropping off a ledge into enemy
into
ink?
enemy ink? Yeah. I wonder what'll happen. Almost
Oh
like
my
there's
God. I've
a
been
short
trying to
related to
find
that.
that prediction clip for the past 3 days.
I don't think it's up anymore. It was probably lost when the Twitch VOD was lost.
No, here's the thing. 2 others remember it as recent too, so I'm pretty sure I'm just missing something in between, or I've just missed it while attempting to listen. Because I have multitasked for a few of them. Otherwise, I will like watch the VOD and listen to it in ×2 speed, and it sounds funny. So.
Yeah, I sound like Ben Shapiro sped up. It's really funny. So the idea for how to play a team when we are just kind of wiped like that is you do not drop in until you can create an advantage for yourself. Like, you eat the power clam, you eat the extra clams that are getting thrown in, you don't let that panic you. You farm for special from where it's definitely safe, and then when you're engaging an opponent, as soon as someone is shooting at you, you already want 2 specials to be popped. You want the missiles to be falling. You want the armor to be on by the time anyone's shooting at you. And we're going to get a chance to practice it again.
Oh my. Okay. Thanks, game. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep that in mind though.
There
Thanks.
truly is no other team
Yeah.
playing League right now.
Alex clams dude.
Well,
This is the
I'll have
map
a little
I
bit.
want.
I'll have a little bit more time to farm armor before we meet them. But again, you know, they're gonna move fast, so make sure that even before we get all the way into mid, we're already eyes up for them.
Yeah, they're already in mid.
80
one
to
more
armor. I need a little bit more paint. They've popped armor. Back up. Back up. Don't get engaged on.
Right.
Here's armor.
I
Take-
could not.
Now's the time to
Please
take
help.
fights.
Yeah, I couldn't see anyone.
Careful, Linkling. You're alone.
Oh.
I'm like halfway to bubbles. The dualies go challenging me.
Alright, I'm ready to drop out on right. We need to contest now.
We have bubbles.
Go.
Alright, they're a
Alright.
suction. Cool.
Another thing to make sure we're doing, which wasn't happening there, is to throw bombs under the basket.
Okay.
That'll... I guess I'm the only person who has a lethal bomb on this comp, aren't I? But
I can switch to something if we want.
But that way, it delays them from being able to get to the basket. They can't just walk forward. They have to, you know, wait for the bomb to explode, and that buys us a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. I can move to dually sculptures, so I have a splat bomb.
Oh, this other custom dually sculptures. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So that'd give us rain, which is good. We're not really holding forward, so I think the double armor isn't quite it. I'm probably gonna...
I swapped.
Yeah.
Well, I
Run.
can give you the armor back. I'm just figuring out what I want to run instead. I think I'll go T-Tech. Yeah.
Back I go.
Best of 7? No, Jamie, we don't need to play them a 4th time. Toast, the dog is Darwin. That is Soliart's pupper. And they were our password guard, but there was a petition in the chat to leave them on screen for the stream. So they get to hang out and watch. But yeah, that team that we just played is placing like top 3, top 4 in open tournaments.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Jamie,
Well,
thanks.
that-
This is clearly all your fault and has nothing to do with any random chance.
Do I have permission to
That-
ban?
Yes. Van Hammer. Do it. I know. That makes me feel less bad though, at least.
Yeah. They're not like top players. They're not out there like winning majors, but they're definitely very good and very coordinated.
They're very mechanical.
Yeah.
Oh, they have armor already.
Right. Yep. Their junior is going to get it really fast.
Oh,
Got
that's
CDS.
very cool. Nice.
Alright, that's 3 down. Push up. Watch out for their
They're-
junior. Junior's going to be throwing a bunch of bombs.
I think the junior has the clam.
Junior's on right side.
I
Also
think
make
we're
sure we're
gonna
getting
try and
clams
Yeah, I
so
think
that
it's
when we
fine.
do get in, we're able to score.
I have Booyah.
One
I
on
can
snipe.
pass.
Jetting.
Oh, they have armor.
I tried to help you.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Okay. I'm dead too. They jump.
Oh, there's one in.
They're all coming
there's
in a court.
3 in our
you're,
base.
you're done if you stay. Yep.
I forget you can jump off a wall.
Where the dude is? Right there.
I have
Where's
Booyah
that?
if we wanna just like push them out.
I'm
Okay.
ready to push if you want to use it.
Yeah, okay.
One on snipe that
I'm
we'll
gonna
need
pop
to
it on
displace.
right side just to catch dualies.
Got.
One more by
got one.
spinner, I think.
There's a jump. There's one far right, 2 coming in
Yep,
middle.
there it is.
Going.
Yeah, they're still by spinner, forcing them back. Got him.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Over on the right side of bridge. Probably
One
going
underneath.
left.
On left, on left. Push him. Got him.
There you go.
I have rain.
One on left, pushing me.
There's a lot on their snipe right now.
Oh,
I got one.
nice.
I got it through the pendulum too.
I'm almost to
That was-
Booyah
oh,
again
nice
if we need it.
We're good.
I gotta hit him. Squid Squatch
Yep.
dead.
I see it.
Okay. I have Booyah if we can.
Oh, I'm dead. One push me
Okay,
left.
never mind.
We have a lot of
I
people
have
coming
8.
back.
I'm not dead.
Wait.
I'm dead. I'm not dead.
We're
Never
2
mind.
down. We're
Sorry.
3 down.
Wait. Okay. Ugh.
I think I got
just
bombed off
jumped
the
into
shield.
abyss. God dang it. I knew there was nothing there too.
Suction. Oh, there was a bomb rush. I was like, wait, that weapon doesn't have a suction bomb.
I had a moment on spinner where I'm like, okay, I can jump forward, I'm gonna make it to the other side, and then I'm like, wait, I don't want to jump, but I already committed to the jump, so I fell down.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. Fantafizz holds the North American twin and quads record.
Yes, that's what it was. I couldn't
Oh.
remember. I was like, I know this guy's known for League, but I don't remember if it's like literally the record holder or just one of the top 10.
So what we could
nuts.
do is just wait 60 seconds and trust that they will be matched up with somebody else in that time.
Let's do that. I prefer
Yeah.
that
We've,
idea.
we've played the best of 7.
True. I think that's
Um,
enough.
But no, I like playing them because they're forcing me to play better, but I can see it not being particularly fun and not especially entertaining to watch. So
It's definitely interesting. I don't know how fun it is.
Gem's toaster reveal. So here's the reveal.
Toaster reveal.
I don't own a toaster.
What? How do you not own a toaster?
Some people don't have a
I
toaster.
just don't need one.
What do you
for
make toast with?
I don't
You
make
can make
toast.
toast with a
is
frying pan.
The answer to that question. I do eat bagels, but I typically, if I want to warm them up, I'll just like use the microwave or something.
That's terrible. Microwave bagel.
Toaster
okay.
just makes things drier. How do you toast
Yeah, that's why you put
Pop-Tarts?
things
I
on
don't
top of
eat
the bagel.
Pop-Tarts.
That's why you put cream cheese on it, so that it's not dry anymore. And it
I
tastes
do
good.
not live purely off of pasta. I have at least 2 other foods that I eat. Okay?
Yes, Triscuits and bagels.
Those are 2 of them, but it's actually more than that too.
Okay.
I'm happy with myself.
Chicken
I actually
soup?
had more than 2.
Soup?
Soup is one. Then we've got yogurt. We've got snap peas. Those are also a couple of staples.
Do I get to ban Jamie for the best of 9 saying?
And
Yes.
beer. Don't forget beer.
Beer. Dude, I like will never eat yogurt, and then one day a year I'll be like, I'm just gonna eat a ton of yogurt for no reason.
Teachers generally do drink. They just don't tell you about it. And yes, it's because of you.
Did you never gift your teacher like bottles of wine as like a thanks before? Do people not do that?
That's a bougie thing. That's something that happens at rich schools.
Okay. There's
One
one
drop left on me.
left. Yeah.
I'm down.
They are weak. Oh, they fled.
No, they're behind the box
Oh.
still. They're pushing.
Yeah,
They're pushing.
They got me.
Ah.
I tried to run, but I couldn't find them.
They're at basket.
They're pushed back to left. I'm gonna stay here on ramp and keep bombs there.
There's
They ain't jetted over.
Okay. Got the inkjet.
Nice shots.
I'm gonna rain.
All right. What side?
Nice.
Front.
Forward.
I'm gonna go down ramp.
Hydra down. There's a jump to him. I'm gonna get.
There's a tent
Ah,
in mid.
there's one shot on left.
Why did I
on
throw the bomb?
K-shot.
Oh my god, and I'm out of
K-shot
it.
coming up ramp.
That was awful.
Oh,
Still 2
Good
mid.
job.
Tent and
one's on me.
T-Tech trench. I'm up.
Oh, I don't know why I jumped here. Why did I jump here?
Have fun with that.
I am having fun going back to spawn the long way.
Still 2 pushing left. I'm ready to jet. On great now.
Give Booyah
I
too.
just realized
Straight down,
they have
traded.
a Hydra.
Nice.
Oh, whoever has the wall, put it on bridge where the tent shield goes. It cancels the tent shield.
That. Oh, they have bubbles.
I'm still watching ramp. Hydra's on left.
Splatted one
Fence
with
on
rain.
left.
On great. On great.
And
Got him.
on bridge.
One more on the clam.
Come here,
Three.
Hoodra.
Got him.
Got him.
Goodbye,
Nice.
Hoodra.
I'm gonna come back
Booyah.
and throw this to Devi.
I'm marked, and there's one on me.
Oh, I didn't want to pick that up.
In trench.
Oh, the
Got him.
There's a lot of beacons in it. Okay.
Hi, Hydra. I'm probably dead to this.
No. You're living. You're living today.
Oh, that was a terrible wall.
I'm living for the next 2 seconds anyway. Okay, we're good.
Nah, you're living. Throw a wall.
2 rushed me, left trench.
I'm down to the Hydra, but I got the tent.
Oh, I didn't even trade. They're coming up ramp.
Coming ramp.
Oh,
One on bridge as well. Traded Hydra. They're trying to make a clam there, but I don't know if they have enough in front.
They jetted.
Oh.
And there's one jumped
Wide
into the
direction.
inkjet jump. Got 1, got 2, I'm down.
Where are they?
Front and left. Mostly.
oh, there's one
Can't
left.
see anyone. I probably would have lived in it.
Booyah
I
just
just didn't do
went
anything.
way
Did it really
over
go
the
over?
to
I
the
hate
left.
this. Okay. I had
Alright.
to pop it
I didn't
to
go
survive,
whoosh, and then
but
I didn't hear the other sounds. Okay, Hydra's in mid.
I did not trade.
There's a lot of us
I'm done.
playing on our
I'm
street
jumping
slash
back.
roof right now. It's making it hard for me to move.
Yeah,
okay.
so don't play on Devi, play on me. Like, go
Okay.
and look at the fights I'm taking and work with
Oh,
me
yeah.
on those. 2 coming left.
I can go in.
One weak at basket. One weak at basket. We can't just drop down. Okay, there we go.
One's on the ramp.
Nice, nice.
I haven't been able to drop
they have armor.
because of what's
Hydra
been
got me.
going on.
Hydra on ramp.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
like.
They're jumping.
I was worried that
They have a
everyone had
jump for
dropped
ramp.
flat, and then I realized that that wasn't the case. Still one bridge, so we're not out of the woods yet.
Oh, two.
There's
I'm
two
trying
there.
to push in through left and draw aggro there,
Here.
but they just popped missiles. Did not see me with them.
I threw the ball up there.
Oh, I got hit by suction. One on left of mid
Still coming left.
in a trench.
Oh, this is gonna be fantastic! I got pinched.
Yeah, well, that was a bad idea. It was cool though.
Oh,
Good stuff. Good
what?
I
stuff.
have booyah.
One more.
It's just a Hydra.
No,
It's just a
Hydras on
Hydra.
the bridge. They're running away. They're in mid.
I'm gonna rain.
Okay, cool.
Do we have a clam? We have 9, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm
have
down on
five.
right. I'm down on right. Nice.
Well, I'm surprised I'm the one here fighting this, but I can.
Still one on the other side of the wall on Debbie.
Yeah, now I would appreciate assistance, but
I
I'm
am the first
Never
one to
mind.
get to
my
you.
bad.
Yeah. Oh, watch out, like you're alone.
Yeah, I can't. My bad.
Oh, got one.
Alright,
Oh,
I will play a weapon that I can initiate with, since we have 2 defense. So I will play the one that is missing. Otherwise, I'm just stuck by spawn, and I can't really help you guys.
Yeah, all good. This is definitely a way for me to learn clams, though.
It's very fast paced at this level. It's
Yeah.
a matter of knowing what the game state is very quickly, so that instead of spending some time like painting up, looking around, throwing a special somewhere where it's not going to do anything, you already know, okay, I need to go here and then here and then here.
Okay.
that
so-
makes sense.
As a general rule, if we have more players than they do that are alive, we want to be pushing forward. If we have fewer players than they have alive, we need to be, backing up and taking defensive positions. We don't need to back up all the way necessarily. If we've got paint in front of us, we can still kind of be there and be a little bit of a hindrance, fire a couple of shots before running away. But for the most part, just do not engage if we are at a numbers disadvantage.
Sure.
And also keep an eye out for specials. As soon as something like armor is popped, consider them up an extra player for your calculations there.
Alright.
Okay.
Should I play something else? I feel like we don't need double wall. I can play, like-
Well, what's your weapon pool?
I can play like C-Jet. I can play K Junior. I play K Dynamo, but that's only really for zones.
I can move to a different weapon if you want.
That's fine. I can play around most things. It's okay.
Dynamo or Jet would both be good. Whatever you're ready to put gear together for.
Speedrun my gear. There you go. Actually, Gold Dynamo might be better for this.
I've got the armor already, and Booyah's
Oh
not
yeah,
that
never mind. You have
defensively.
armor. I forgot you had armor. Never mind. We're good.
Yeah, all good. Nice thing
if
about
you
running
need-
into that team earlier is that the league session is going to be relatively short, and we'll get right to the VOD reviews.
That works.
What you were saying, Linkling?
If you want, I also play Fresh Squiffer, so.
Okay.
It was funny. You know, I do this in fighting games a lot, where like, I can't just pick one thing and learn it. I have to play like 80 different things.
I would say I can relate, but I can't. I was a solo
There's-
Marth main for 14 years.
There's a strength and a great weakness to that.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, etc.
Mm.
But
You have more like
Yeah.
general macro knowledge of the game that way, but it also means that mechanically you're going to be a little bit weaker on every individual weapon you play, and you'll also
For sure.
be a little bit slower to make the immediate correct decision with that particular weapon.
Yeah.
I find myself, you know, on the Grim Range Blaster playthroughs holding forward too much because that's what I would do on a shooter, but I can't get out of those
Yeah.
positions once I get there.
You know,
So-
that's something I wanted to bring up for my VOD reviews. I'm just like jumping a bunch. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I feel like I've gotten better at Grim since I submitted that though, but I ended up getting like 20 kills and then we still lose, so I'm probably not taking the right kills, but we'll talk about that later, not now. That's
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing.
I also jump a lot whenever I play Grim Range Master.
Yeah, I
It's-
usually run
We'll
one main
talk
event
about
queue,
actually
but-
jumping with the blaster, because that is a topic that I actually specifically asked Chara about in preparation for this VOD review. So
Oh my god,
we
you
can talk
talked to
about that.
Char about my VOD. Wild.
He gave me like three lines of text, but they are very useful lines of text that we will go over.
Fine, I look up to Char
one
then,
underneath.
so that's cool. I'm just
I'm down.
covering
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Don't know
Alright.
where everybody went.
I have armor, but I'm saving it. Just back up to defensive positions, throw bombs.
Yeah, there's like two people on right.
Flings are trying to come in left, they're bomb rushing.
I blew up.
Alright, here's armor, let's do something
armor.
about this. One in the corner, got him. Another one on
Nice.
me, they got me. No, I traded though.
Oh, there's one on the right.
Hydra and Brush. Watch Spinner.
They're like 50
Got the
HP.
Hydra.
Oh, I just want to basket. I got the brush.
Alright. That's
good?
delayed wipe.
Ports cleared. No, it's fine.
There's two on the by me.
Only 40 to armor.
I got a hit on someone on right.
Oh, things on me.
Yep.
One's underneath.
You
Got
got
him.
that, nice.
I ignored the booyahs.
One top
When
left.
I squeeze my controller, I booyah.
Okay.
Understood. I have armor ready to go. We've got 3 specials. Let's go.
Cool.
Hold forward.
I
Go
found
for
the
fights. Oh, we did not get enough damage on them.
No.
So now we're 2 down. So let's back up.
Ugh.
Play safe.
3 down.
That. Why did I do that?
Flings in. One other trying to come in right. I'm getting bombs down there. Flings a weak. Got him.
Nice.
Still 2 on me.
I got the Hydra.
Armoring.
Okay.
I broke an armor.
Got one. One more
Oh, they're
spinner.
dead. My bad.
Got him.
Traded.
Cool.
All right, we'll push up into mid. Let's get control of that.
There's still someone
Things
coming
over.
down.
Help
Yeah.
Dovey, help Dovey. Nice.
Dead.
All right,
Oh,
make
Hydra's
sure we're
on me.
picking up
Hydra's on.
clams and
How do you
I
just-
got-
careful about engagements.
I got
Nice.
one with a bomb.
Okay. Can I jump T-Gem?
You probably don't want to yet.
Okay,
Wait
cool.
for a second. Now jump.
Got the Hydra.
Flings on mid.
I got 2.
Flings a weak. Got him. Here's armor. It's actually just these Blugas. So that was kind of a waste, but we got him.
We have
Oh my
clams.
god. I have 7.
I have
Oh
3.
no.
I have Booyah though.
Give me 3.
Oh,
Give me
no.
3.
I don't. Okay.
I got one.
My bad.
Somehow traded.
We're in. What? There are 2 on right.
Watch out. One of us jumped back.
Yeah,
They can
sorry.
see that we don't have any clams, so they can kind of play it safe here.
I got one. Drop
Ryan,
Linza.
where are you?
We're still in.
I'm coming.
You're still
Oh,
in.
no, I'm not.
Good.
I don't think you get there in time though.
Oh.
Got
Oh,
blue.
nice.
what?
I can come in with 4 more.
Black Luga.
Ah.
Hydra got me. Back up. Yeah, it's just you two. You're 1 down.
There we go.
Got lead.
Let's
Backing
go,
up after
finally.
lead. Might get chased down here, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But stay back, get specials, be ready.
Yep.
There's a couple in mid.
Where's Hydra's on mid right now.
Yeah.
Close to
Yeah, so is
armor.
Linza.
Alright, they just
If
popped
I
it.
am,
Back
watch
up,
it.
back up, back up.
They're under spinner. They're under
There's
spinner.
Popping
jumping.
armor and go in. Got
Got
one.
Fall down.
Another one weak. Got him. That's 3 down. Just one under a basket. Weak.
Got
Nice.
it.
Nice, cool.
Good stop. Good stop. Push up into mid. Make sure that we have space. Don't give them their jumps into the beacons on left.
Brush on
I
me.
almost have Booyah. I've hit on brush.
They're jumping into the
Brush down.
beacons on left. They're gonna be in mid faster
Got
than us.
one. Ah, shoot.
I'm gonna go rotate around
I don't
left
want
side
this.
to cover that.
I'm gonna go right.
Don't save the power clam. It's not worth dying for.
Yeah, don't. I didn't even mean to make it. There was just like a bunch of clam spawns that came right where I was, and I'm like,
Blue guys
oh my
are
goodness,
pushing right. Okay, they're not overcommitting. Ah, Hydra got me. Wasn't thinking about it.
Oh.
They popped armor.
They
Back
popped
up, back up,
armor,
back
yeah.
up.
Brush got me. They're coming. There's like 2 right or 2 left. Sorry.
On your left, Linkling. Jump out if you need to.
That was
I
stupid.
got
of me.
Hydra.
No.
I got
Oh.
2. Go away, brush.
Last one, weak. Nice.
Brush down.
That's wipe. We need to get a bunch of clams and get moving forward.
Okay, I have Booyah bomb too.
They're going to be jumping into left again because we're not taking care of the beacons.
Watch out for Hydra.
Yeah.
Actually, I should grab the pity. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna go in with hammer.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Ah.
That was
Yeah.
really short.
It's a
Yeah.
long map. We've got to really hold forward and go for it.
That was really short though. Wow. I was like, okay, I probably have about maybe 3 more seconds, and I had hammer. I'm like, I have to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in clam overtime, you have time to hold forward and throw a clam in as a general rule. Like, you might be able to splat 1 or 2 people along the way, but that's about it.
Dynamo felt better at least, so that's nice. I just need to get better at placing Booyah bombs.
I finally found the side to flank them after 3 minutes, and I'm just like, they are not watching the right wing. I'm gonna go behind them. I got the Hydra like 3 times because of that.
Yeah, the Hydra
really
wasn't
good
a
with
huge factor in the game, largely
No.
because we have a Hydra main on the brush, flanking specifically a Hydra. Funny how that works.
Oh, do you want me to
funny
move
part-
weapons?
Because what is it? Since I
think you're
know
good.
how to flank on the Hydra specifically, I have more of a sense of patience and know the guarantee. So it's like, okay, they don't see me. I can just go in and bop them.
Leg, speaking of booyah bombs, what you want to do with
Yeah.
the booyah bomb is split the enemy team up with it. You want to place it in such a way that people have to run in 2 opposite directions from each other. That's when
Okay.
you're using it the most successfully. Because then we can take a fight on the one that gets pushed closer to us, and the other one can't get involved in
That's
that
not-
fight.
Nugget.
Okay, cool. The nugget. Okay. Yeah. I like most kind of understood that, but that's good to like clarify things. I also just need to get better at like looking at where people are.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
you
getting better
learn to see
sightlines.
this game better before you learn how to play it better.
For
That's
sure.
a lot of rollers.
A lot of mid-range, and then a carbon, which doesn't have a lot of paint to work
They
with.
have a lot of swim speed, so.
Squeezer's on right. I've got armor. I'm pushing it.
Cool.
Squeezer's backing up.
I got-
one
I'm on their side.
spinner.
I traded.
Tagged him a couple times.
Got a
Snipe his blaster.
Carbon on mid.
I see him. Carbon
Oh,
down.
I'm down. Blaster on the snipe still. Blaster's still sharking, literally the top of their snipe on spinner now. Top
Yeah,
spinner.
that's fine. I'm not pushing it. Dynamo trying to come out right.
Carbon on me. Oh.
I gotta hit him the carbon.
Blaster dropped left. Dynamo's pushing in. I'm gonna focus left instead.
Okay.
70 to armor.
Carbon coming on our snipe.
Okay.
They have armor still.
I cannot move
Tagged
right
him a
now.
couple times. Blaster's up there as well. Carbon drops. Got
Carbon
him.
drop.
I'm down to
Wonderful.
Dynamo. I
Darn.
can't move in without the bombs. I'm trying to use my own, but
Blaster in mid. They're jumping to it. Dynamo watching right.
I'm gonna.
There's pop bubbles.
Carbon over the top.
they're in the bubble.
I'm just gonna...
I missed.
I got carbon.
Got him.
Oh,
That's 2
RNGs.
down.
Dynamo got me.
Below.
Oh, got him.
One more on right.
Oh, that was really.
Oh my god. Did you literally just run a full circle around him, Debbie? Oh my god.
Go on, Here, I'm gonna give it
Last
to you.
moment. Thank you.
That's so disrespectful, but also so smart.
I mean, it was the only way I was gonna live.
Blaster on me.
I'm
Where are
going
they?
under.
Oh, in our pit
On their
still.
snipe.
Got him.
Good pick.
Blaster down.
Oh, there's one up again.
Oh, Carbon on
There's
left.
Dino.
Like,
I don't know why I thought that was you. Carbon or Spinner now? On top of
I
it?
Dino.
am in their base. You can come with
Yeah,
them.
jump with the clam or move in with the
Yeah,
clam.
I'm gonna throw climb in.
Carbon's gonna be behind.
I can watch behind.
Yeah, I'm dead. I couldn't turn in time.
Hey, booyah.
I'm gonna get into the claiming.
Blaster got me.
Oh, there's a carbon up there.
Back up, back up, back up. You're down 2.
Yep. Retreat. Just keep mid.
Carbon
play
pushing into
if
mid.
you can. Oh, yeah, carbon's just running at you.
90 to armor.
Oh, they're bomb rushing.
Oh,
Here's armor.
Oh, I'm seen.
Got a bunch of damage on mid, but no one down. A bunch on right.
they have armor.
Oh, I'm down to the
Hey,
dynamo.
got that. Traded.
You're last.
Spinner. We got come back. We don't
Jump
have a
out.
flash.
Jump out.
Carbon's on far left. Carbon has power climb coming
How did he
from
not see?
our snipe.
Still 2 on Spinner.
I need to get my splash down. I'll hit one.
They have armor.
One below basket.
Oh, there's 2.
Got him.
In the bubble.
Got carbon.
I'm down.
A dynamo on me.
I have a hit on
Still under
Caesar,
basket.
but they have armor.
2 under basket.
I got
One
dynamo.
more. One more.
His armor's
They're
cracked.
way to the. They're jumping
Left.
in over there.
Oh, they
yes,
jumped in.
directions that I do not know.
Oh. Where are they? Like,
Oh, there's
I'm
one
just
in
gonna
mid.
hold booyah. Okay.
One trying to get up
I'm
Spinner.
there.
Nice, you got him.
Nice call, by the way. I didn't know that otherwise.
Me?
The spinner call.
Blaster on left of their court.
Someone's coming up to the
Got
right.
one.
2. Oh no! Help in mid.
I have a hit on Squeezer.
Right pit.
Below.
They popped armor.
Oh no!
Squeezer
I'm
coming
dead.
out.
James, or
Just
it's
2 on the right.
just
2 on the right.
It's
2 on
just
the right.
me.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just you.
paint. Just paint. 20 seconds.
I've
I
got
didn't
armor.
realize the time. Otherwise, I would have been more defensive.
Blaster trying to poke snipe. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm trying to come around the backside of them.
All right, here's armor.
Oh, they got me.
Got one.
That's 2
Got
down.
2.
That's 3 down. Beautiful.
GG.
first win. Let's go.
I am so sorry about the 360, but I did not have any other way to dodge the dynamo flick, so I just ran around them until they ran out of ink.
Nah, that's what you do when you have to. Dude, make Dynamo paint its feet when it like rolls in a circle, please.
Yes.
That's all I want.
All right. So that'll do it for that. I need to go and use the restroom really quickly before we start the VOD reviews, so I will enlarge Darwin.
Yay.
Enjoy your Darwin, everybody.
Arf, arf.
And I'll be right back.
I am going to go post that clip. I'll put it
Gonna
in
go-
I'll put it in the clips in the Squid School server for those who want to see how I ran around the dynamo.
I saw like just the very end of it.
Yeah, I literally did a full 360 around the dynamo. It was like a lap.
Dude, Dynamo is a weapon.
It's a fun weapon.
It's so fun, but then you have like hitboxes sometimes.
Oh yeah,
It's
the hitboxes are annoying, but
I got
love
one.
The weapon.
Yeah, it's so fun. I got one this session though, where it was like just barely on the edge of not getting the one shot.
Oh, I hate when
I-
that happens.
Yeah, no, because I literally called that I got the pick and then he just lived. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I've done that a lot.
All right, I am back, gamers. Thumbnail made it look like you were playing Splat 3 early. What? You think I would show you guys if I was playing Splat 3 early? I would. It would probably make me a lot of money. Anyway, so let's get started really quick with Linkling's VOD review here. And then, time permitting, I have an interesting little story and an interesting question that I want to pose to all of y'all, because there's a mystery I'm trying to solve. And the people who are best equipped to solve it may well be in this stream chat. So that'll be after that VOD review. First things first, let's get going with Linkling, because they're going to have to head out pretty soon. So I'm going to hop over to this window, and I'm keeping this not full screen for just a second, so that I can compare, because I'm seeing that you're showing the build before you go into this. So I wanted to bring up the resource that I use for figuring out builds, so that you can kind of compare and see what, you know, the top players are doing. So this website right here is sendu.inc/builds. So sendu.inc is a very, very good Splatoon resource that any competitive player should know about. It's got all sorts of things from listings of teams and free agency to the map planner that I use for all of my map mode of the day videos, which are not daily anymore, so I guess I should just call them map mode guides now. It's got a matchmaking service called Sendu Queue that they, I don't know if that's still live, but it was going for a good while. So, builds. You can search by weapon, and then any of these builds that have this orange crown icon right here, they're made by top 500 players. So you know that those are competitive players who kind of know what they're doing. One other that I would focus on, though, is this one, Gamba Woomy in particular. This is not a top 500 player, which is why they don't have the crown. However, they keep track of what top Japanese players are doing in Zones Cups. So this is not Gamba Woomy's build. This is Isume's build from Zones Cup 36. So these are still top players that are getting their builds posted. Granted, this one was from 2 years ago, so it might be a little out of date. But this gives you kind of an idea of what the Japanese meta is looking like and how it might differ from the Western meta. So that's also a good resource. But these 4 builds right here, what I'm basically doing if I'm trying to build a 96 build from scratch and I don't know anything, is I'm kind of looking at all of these and thinking, what are these patches that these top 500 players, what are they trying to do with them? What are my priorities as a player? And which of these kinds of ideas aligns best with me? So I'm seeing, under most of the builds, a main of swim speed up. I'm seeing 2.1 or 2.2 of main power up. Main power up increases damage. So what I'm guessing they're going for is 65 damage, so that it combos with indirects off of burst bombs and blasters. That's my thought about what they might be trying to do there. I haven't actually tested to see that that's how much damage that much MPU gives you, but I can't think of another threshold that they would really want to hit super bad, because it's a 96. It's going to two-shot, no matter how it hits. Maybe it's going to decrease the amount of fall-off damage. Maybe, because I know they increased the fall-off damage, and maybe that's what it is. I think they increased the fall-off damage in one of the patches so that it does a minimum of 35, which means that if you can get the main weapon up to 65, one shot plus one fall-off shot might combo. I don't know why you would get one fall-off shot and then one direct shot ever, but maybe that's part of the idea. I don't know. But they're all going for that kind of damage combo, so that's something to seriously consider. Swim speed, I think, is definitely really important to consider on any weapon. Movement speed is just such an important part of this game in any game mode. Being able to get around the map faster is always an advantage. So something to consider, especially since the 96 gal is relatively immobile while it's shooting. Lastly, we've got some utility subs here. We do have a little bit of ink efficiency. We've got some quick super jump, some 2 subs of ink resistance, it's looking like, on almost all of the builds. And then a little bit of special saver or bomb defense, those are typically utility subs. You throw those to fill out any build, basically, that you have a few extra slots for. So that's what I'm seeing there, and so that's what I would generally recommend. Those players know this weapon better than me. So, I am now going to share screen in Discord. So, oops, that's not Discord. This is Discord. And so now you should be able to see what I'm talking about in real time. And we'll skip ahead to where it starts here and get going. You able to see okay?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So, 96 Deco, just general notes about the playstyle here. One of the strongest weapons of the game right now is the Kensa 52 cal, which is very, very similar in the way that it plays to the 96 Deco. It has a splash wall. It uses that splash wall to be able to slowly move its way forward, and it has a very fast 2-shot splat that it can use to take out anybody who gets too close to it, anyone who tries to flank it. It's just very solid at any point in its weapon range. And it also paints really well. So it kind of does double duty as a Slayer skirmisher. And the 96 Deco can kind of do a lot of the same things. It's just a little bit slower at doing it because of the fire rate. But it's still able to play relatively aggressively, even in relatively unsafe positions, because it has the wall, and it can kind of sit right in the middle of the wall, and on reaction move to whichever side of the wall is safe. Now, you have to be careful about people throwing bombs at it. People will especially start doing that more and more at high level. But again, the reason that you're right in the middle of it is so that when you see the bomb coming, you can kind of dodge to one side or the other and keep yourself safe. And so that's something that's especially, K52 gal players will do. And they can get away with even more because they have a booyah bomb. So even if they're starting to get collapse on and they realize it, they can just give themselves a ton of armor and throw a booyah bomb at their feet and get out anyway. You have splashdown, which becomes a liability the longer you play the game, the more experienced you get and the higher the lobbies get in skill level. So that's the big weak point of this weapon, but there are still players who will one-trick this and take it up to 2800. It's definitely off meta, but it's also got a lot of strengths. And there have been competitive teams at, Div 1, I don't know if Div X level, but definitely very high up in competitive play, who have run 96 Deco and made it work. So, coming down from Moray Towers, this is a really, really slow map to move out into mid. And you don't want to make it any slower on yourself. And one thing that you are actually doing on your way down to make it slower on yourself is you're jumping. The only time you ever want to jump off a ledge is if you're trying to make it from that ledge to another ledge, if you're trying to jump across a gap. Otherwise, there is no reason basically ever to jump, because jumping makes you stay in the air longer, and being in the air is the most vulnerable and most slow, unmaneuverable position that you can be in Splatoon. If you swim off instead of jumping off, you will save yourself time getting down to the bottom. And you'll still be able to shoot your whole way down and create enough of a path for yourself to be swimming as soon as you land. So that's a little movement optimization, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it definitely adds up, especially, the higher level you get, the faster paced the game goes. Making it, especially in Rainmaker, to mid faster than the other team is a huge, huge advantage. Because popping the Rainmaker just gives you mid control immediately, and also immediately charges special for the player who landed the last shot. So you get an immediate advantage in the fight that follows by popping it, and you force the enemy team to play a lot less aggressively off the start. So for those reasons, it's a really minor movement optimization, but it's pretty important in Rainmaker in particular. I had a video earlier about relaying, which is a similar concept that you also want to be applying to making it out to mid to pop the Rainmaker shield as fast as you can. Now, your weapon is long-reaching enough to be able to shoot the shield from top mid, or from the top of snipe, I believe. You want to be careful about that because they have a charger, but I believe this is just like a K charger. I don't think it's an E-liter. So they have to get pretty close, if I remember correctly, to be able to reach all the way across from snipe and shoot you from there. So what you'll probably be able to do is look across the way while you're painting the Rainmaker shield and see if the charger is taking aim at you. And if they are, then move. But for now, staying up here is a lot safer, because if you drop down, you don't have anything painted below you. It's not quite as bad as dropping into enemy ink because they're not there yet, but I actually would say it's almost as bad because if you drop, you're now committed to having to pop the Rainmaker shield. If you don't pop the Rainmaker shield, you either have to run away from the Rainmaker shield to survive it, or you have to just keep painting it and hope it doesn't go the other team's way. Because now you're in the blast radius of it, and I think you realize that immediately and try to back up. But now that you're backing up, you're not shooting it anymore, and you're making it more likely that they get the pop. There's a lot of danger that you put yourself in by dropping off the ledge there. If you're going to approach mid, I would say maybe drop off the left side and try and be over here so that you have some paint to back up into or something like that. But being down here, you don't have a lot of ways out, and you recognize that. You try to get out, you lose the opportunity to be able to get back up to top mid. I think the charger probably would have splatted you for this as well, if not for the fact that they were busy splatting your teammate. Because you're in a pretty vulnerable position. Again, you're not able to move very fast, and they clearly landed a shot pretty accurately right there. So this easily could have been you that gets splatted instead of the charger player. And then you climb all the way back up. It might be that maybe you fell off by accident, and so you just immediately decided to correct that. But in a situation where you commit so hard to a position that, like, it's going to take you 5 seconds of turning around, painting 2 different walls, and climbing all the way back up to get back to where you were, just try to do the best you can from where you were at. You know, obviously try to find a more advantageous position than you were standing in, but turning around and coming all the way back up is just taking you too much time, and too much on the map is happening while that's going on that you're not having an impact on. So yeah. All right. So we see that there's someone over here, and you come over here to prevent them from going on the rail. My take, let them have the rail. Let them think they can take the rail, because if they actually decide to come up on the rail, they're way easier to shoot, and they're not able to return fire very easily. So if they take the rail, I'm just like, cool. Pew pew. They're down. I would love for them to take the rail right now. You did see briefly, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this just from the brief spot you had, but right there in those few frames, we see that this is a roller from both the way the ink is coming out, and we can actually just see the head of the roller as it flicks. So knowing that this is a roller, we have to approach it in a certain way. You can't just immediately put yourself in the roller's range, because the roller wins that every time. What you need to do is find an angle where you can paint everything that the roller could potentially be hiding in, and then you flush the roller out, because now it has nowhere to hide and it has to move, and you shoot it while it's moving. That's how you want to fight the roller in this kind of situation. What happens instead here is you can see the roller's not backing up. The roller doesn't even have paint to back up into over here. And you know that they haven't had time to paint all of this over here on the right. That's an unfortunate word to have on the wall. So you know they have to be sharking in this ink just right on the other side of the wall. You're going to be in range of them as soon as you come over the wall. And like you're going to be very, very close to them. You're going to be in melee range. Even if... I don't know if this is a vanilla carbon or if this is a hero roller yet. We'll find out in a second. But they're definitely going to be in one-shot range of you regardless of which of those weapons they have. So the fact that you're going over is definitely a tactical mistake. You're not using your range. The midline weapon's biggest strength is its range over a short-ranged weapon. Your ability to move up quickly but outrange anything you're going to see while you're moving up, that's what you're trying to abuse. But the flip side of that, the other side of that coin, is that you need to keep your range against something that you outrange. because anything shorter range than you is probably going to splat faster. So you can't put yourself into their range and still have an advantage. You need to kind of keep them at arm's length. You can't just like play like a backliner, but as you're moving up, you need to be very aware of every place that an enemy player could be, and you need to enforce your zone of control up to that point so that they can't sneak up on you. Here, you're trying to sneak up on them, but you don't know where they are. They could be anywhere in this yellow ink here. And so picking a spot at random and trying to shoot that and hoping that they're there on the hard read, that's a really, really low percentage play, and you're going to get splatted, I would say, like 85% of the time for making this kind of a play. Which is exactly what happens. I believe this is a carbon roller from what we've seen. Yep. So mind you, this is a vanilla carbon roller. I guess they're running a bunch of MPU to help out with the one-shot range, but this weapon doesn't even necessarily splat you, even if it can hit you with a horizontal flick. But you got so close to it that it could, even from that range. So now we're 2 players down, which means that we're going to want to be very careful. I would still be opening up my map and trying to, 1, see what else is going on in the game, and 2, look for a jump in. Because trying to come down the long way is keeping you out of play for a very, very long time, especially on this map. On any map it will, but on this map it's the absolute worst. It takes a good, like, 10 seconds, even just to beeline from spawn to mid, and you're not beelining from spawn to mid, you're taking your time and painting up here first. When you're trying to get special, it's usually the best policy to paint something that is going to give you a tactical advantage to get that special. Paint something that you actually want to control on the map. This area right here is never going to be relevant to any fight that you take in this game. So you don't need to paint this. In order to get your special, I would focus more on painting your path back out to mid and painting something that your opponents have painted over. That way you're taking control of something that's a little bit more useful. Also, painting for special isn't the most important thing for you because your special is the weakest special in the entire game. Yes, it's nice to have, and it's nice to have the option to splash down, jump in, to have it as a last resort if you're like, well, I know I'm not going to do this with my main weapon, so I might as well send it. But you're not like an NZAP where you absolutely want to have your special whenever you possibly can. This is more of like an NZAPper junior play where you're trying to farm for armor as fast as possible because that's the way that your team gets in the fastest. You want to be taking a defensive position where you can actually hold with your main weapon and potentially have kill threat on the enemy players. So I would be trying to move into a position like that a little bit faster. That is a pretty good jump, though. When you're dropping down, it's not like you're going to be able to move, so you might as well take the opportunity to paint on your way down. So that idea I like. Just not so much painting out of spawn with the 96, which is going to paint relatively slowly. And this, too, is really good. Actually, what I like to see people doing from here is instead of dropping down in this direction, the way that you move to here, move over on the right on this bridge that comes down from goal. Painting that up, number 1, slows down the enemy team if they get a fast break. But number 2, it gives you the option to either go right and deal with overlook if the enemy team decides to push there, or if you drop down from the middle of it. I'm going to back up for just a second so I can point this out. It's still a little bit blurry. I'm going to show you this on Sendu instead. It's going to be just a second to get this set up here. It's going to be Rainmaker on Moray. And we want the top down. And does this show up well at all on screen? It shows up pretty well. We'll leave it where it's at. Okay. So I think all of the maps should be visible on screen. Yep. All right. So, well, a lot of players just do this and land right here. And the problem with that is that even into like B rank, players realize, hey, people like to drop down right here. And every roller and their mother is going to be looking at this spot if they're able to get this position. Now, you can always look down and check to see if this position is painted for you, if, there might be someone sharking down there. I don't think you do check it, but there is even if, it looks painted, they might be sharking on the wall, they might be behind a box or something, it's a little bit more risky. And it also gives them a way in that's not really defended. If they have the Rainmaker right now as you're dropping down, and they start running it this way to go up here, you being in this position does not help to defend against this Rainmaker route. The alternative that I would like to recommend for basically everybody is to come out this way and either drop down kind of like this, or at least when you get into this position right here, to run down this way instead. This way, you have access to this angle, which is the only way that they can come if they're pushing right. And it also gives you access to Overlook, which is a place that they have to go if they're pushing left. So from here, you can cover 2 pushing options. You can cover all of the ways that they actually have to be able to push the Rainmaker. And when you get to that location, when you get to about here, you're going to be able to assess, okay, which direction are they pushing in? Which direction am I most needed? Are they coming this way or are they coming this way? And from there, you can kind of option select. You can either, drop down here and put a wall in front and start getting in their way, or you can rotate over to this side and get a wall up on this angle so that you can spot them coming up the wall. Or maybe you can take a position right here and shoot them off the wall if you're fast enough. Or maybe you see a flanker coming in here and you can attend to the flanker from there. But whatever it is that you're doing, you're able to get there from here, and you're not necessarily able to get there from here. This only covers the one option. So that's what I would recommend for the way that you're going to drop out.
Okay.
So we drop down here. We paint up this a little bit. And then we and our teammate drop down here. Now, I'm keeping track in my head of, where do we have a defense ready? Right now, we've lost a player to, it looks like, dropping off the ledge here. And we have a teammate right next to us, which means this side is over-defended. If they go someplace that's not right in front of me, there is at most one other player who can do something about that. And if they're pushing with their whole team, that's not enough. So seeing that I've got a teammate with me and one down, I'm all of a sudden worried, wait, are we actually covering every angle that's available to them right now? And it turns out we are not. They do end up slipping by us up the wall here. It's a little bit unfortunate because I think you might have been able to stop this if because I think what happens is you're hitting shots and you're like, oh cool, I'm hitting shots, let's keep firing there, not realizing that it's not the Rainmaker carrier you're hitting. You hit the roller instead. So you probably did have time to stop this, but the surefire way to stop this, rather than trying to shoot for kills, is to shoot the wall so that they can't keep swimming up. Shoot above where the Rainmaker currently is to cut them off, and then they're just going to stop dead right at that spot, and you can aim down a little bit lower. They have no way of painting their way back up unless they have a teammate behind them who's helping them or something, and they both try to go up the wall here. So if you'd shot a spot on the wall ahead of the Rainmaker, you'd stop them, they'd be frozen in place, you just shoot them after that, and they'd be sitting ducks, and they'd be easier to hit, and you'd have a more consistent splat on both of them and the teammate who's guarding them. But as it is, they're able to get all the way up the wall, and now you're completely out of position. Your best play right now is to jump back to spawn, or hopefully to a teammate who's a little bit further out of spawn, but is still back behind your goal, so that you can get into a place where you can actually stop the Rainmaker. Because you and your teammate are both down here. There is at most one person who is in the Rainmaker carrier's way, and a second one who will be on the way from spawn, but they're probably going to stagger in, so this could go bad very quickly. You decide to swim all the way back, and that's just not going to get you back fast. Coming all the way up here, I think if they're able to get by your teammate, which they would have been if they'd had members here, I think you still probably are not back on defense fast enough. But jumping back to this teammate would have been a lot faster. And if this teammate had gotten splatted and they'd been able to run forward, you running backwards would not have gotten you back fast enough to stop a KO. So we luck out a little bit there. Popping the Rainmaker here probably isn't the first priority. The first priority is making sure that they can't run forward to get to it. I might even just leave it in the shield for the time being just to be safe, just so that, you know, if a fight's developing right now, if people are trying to follow up on the Rainmaker going down, you want to be a factor in that. You don't want your teammate going into that alone. Because picking it up, if you're going to pick it up, I would say in this position you want to jump it off the edge. The risk here is that you pick it up, and now they know exactly where you are, and so you're at a higher likelihood of going down, and if you do go down, now the Rainmaker is still really close to your base. Your chance in this position of being able to swim it out safely and actually get it all the way back to mid, or to get it a significant ways forward, is not one that you want to bank the game on. So I would just jump it off the ledge here, take the death. It'll go all the way back into mid, and it'll take them forever to make it back up here with it. Because right now, the only person that you have with you to guard you is a charger, which is not going to be the best if somebody is able to get up close to you. I'd say at best you drop it down one level below you, and even that is going to be really risky, because they're going to see, okay, we have numbers advantage, and one of them picked up the Rainmaker, and at high level, if they're in position, they're going to be sharking right underneath you, waiting for you to drop down so they can splat you and then just immediately run it back. So you do end up getting a pick there, which helps. That makes this a little bit more safe. I like that you are taking some time to paint this wall. Maybe not so much with the Rainmaker being held, because losing it here still puts them in range of potentially KOing. But you're playing it safe. You're making sure that you're, keeping your range from the opponents, which is good. That's kind of how you want to play the Rainmaker. And you're kind of waiting for your teammates to push up for you. Now, in this position that you find yourself in here, you know that there are at least two players here, because we saw jumps coming in. We just saw someone land in here. So there's at least two players here, and there's a lot of yellow paint on the other side and everything here. If you're going to keep moving from this position instead of just firing and waiting for your teammates to come to you, I would want to move it more to the left, if anything, because I know that there are going to be opponents here. I don't know that there are going to be opponents here, and I'm going to have more high ground over in this direction. Jumping it across over here, you're basically saying, I want to die on this location, because they're immediately going to spot that it's super close to them, and they're going to come over the wall and do this. So, not the worst play at all, because you do manage to get it pretty much all the way out into mid. But if there had been someone in the way that had stopped that, if the charger wasn't able to really help you in the fight, this could have gone a lot more badly, and again, I would recommend just suiciding it off, because then you're going to be spawning it pretty close to the same time as your teammates, and you were going to get splatted anyway, because that's the way that it goes when you pick up the Rainmaker. You either get splatted or you win the game by KO. So might as well have just reset it to mid, made it take a little bit longer for them to get the pop and everything, and been coming back in with your teammates instead of staggering in. At this point, you definitely want to be looking to jump into a teammate instead of running it back down to mid, because right now your team is in a 3v4. With you being down and all of them being up, your team is just a player down in this fight, and you want to equalize that numbers advantage as quickly as you possibly can. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, which is better than you tend to expect in a 3v4 situation. So your teammate did a good job, finding the pick here, but it's still in neutral. It's still relatively dicey. One of your teammates does have a special. Look for them to be popping that, and if they do pop it, try and see if there's any way that you can follow up on it and help them with it. They do have a bomb rush coming in, but let's see what happens here. Oh, this is an enemy wall we're shooting here. I wasn't even paying attention to that. Okay, so you have a teammate right here. that gets splatted from someone who is clearly on the back side of this box. You're also in enemy ink right now. You need to be putting space between you and this opponent. You not having space, you not keeping your range against them, is an invitation for them to push you, especially since you can't move away and you're on a relatively immobile weapon. This isn't a zap where you could just like paint your feet really quickly and zip your way around them and like run circles around them or something. Even if it was against the carbon roller, I still don't like that fight. What you need to be doing as soon as you see, oh shoot, this player goes down, you're already in a bad spot. What you want to be doing is finding a way to either give yourself range or take cover. Taking cover is risky because they might hit you up over the top, but running away is also risky if they're already holding forward at you. They probably catch up to you before you can get out of range. So you're either painting one speck of ink right here and then running behind this box, or painting one speck of ink right here and running up in this direction. And this is one of the major reasons why I like not dropping onto snipe, why I like dropping into the middle like I showed you earlier. Because again, rollers like to be on this spot, and if you drop down, especially into enemy ink like this, you're exactly where they want you to be, and so they're going to be able to take the fight. Now, it looks like you don't even like pay attention to the roller, because like we can see on our screen as we drop down here, right there, this like big splat of yellow ink should clue you in like, oh shoot, there's someone here. And the roller flicks right there to confirm that it's not like the enemy charger or something. So we had the information to know that they were here, and I think you just didn't recognize what was going on, because then you just present your back to the roller, and so they take the easy flank on you. So now we're 2 down. Jumping in is probably pretty risky to whoever is still up, but maybe the charger's in a good spot. I would at least be opening my map to look for jumping to the charger. I don't think we've seen you open maps so far in this game. That is a habit that I want you to start getting into. Whenever you are, especially just like coming back in from spawn, definitely check the map. But it can even be useful in situations where you're like about to approach something that is normally controlled by the enemy team, and you want to check to see, is there paint there? Is there somebody who might be moving towards me? And just spot any immediate threats in your general area. The map is a really, really powerful information tool. Like, they don't give you this much information in other shooters. CSGO, forget about it. There's no way that you are just able to pop a map open and see exactly where an enemy player is. At most, you're going to be able to like hear gunshots or something in those games. But in Splatoon, you can kind of just see exactly where your opponents are able to move, with very few exceptions. You can see exactly what they control on the map because it's all painted there for you. It's really pretty elegant how they're able to communicate that much information to you. So take advantage of it when you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't open it much besides when I'm splatted.
Because like right now, you dropping over this ledge, for all you know, everything below you is yellow. For all you know, the entire enemy team besides the Rainmaker is sitting, looking straight up, waiting for you to drop into their waiting arms. A map check would make this a lot safer to do. So we've got 2 players down right now. Like, getting the Rainmaker popped can be nice because it gives you paint, but let's think about what kind of advantage the paint is going to give you. It's going to let you move really well in this area. In a 2v4, you don't want to be in this area. You also don't want to be picking up the Rainmaker in a 2v4. So popping it right now with this many players down on your team isn't really the priority anymore. Your priority now is to back up, like get onto a snipe, get into a safe defensive position, and you know, if somebody pushes you by themselves, sure, you can, you know, take the easy pick or something like that. But for the most part, you're playing safe and waiting for your teammates to respawn so you don't cause a stagger here. At this point, you're pretty hard committed. We saw shots coming at you from the right-hand side here. So right about here, those couple shots are, I think, coming from your snipe. They're up and behind you. So the time to back up has already passed. and you've got rain that's preventing you from going into mid, so you have to go left, and the other team probably knows you have to go left, and they're like watching you go left. So your best bet at this point, I think, is to find a little like spot of ink around this wall so that this guy behind you can't hit you, and just super jump out. I'm anticipating that this probably ends in death if you stay. So I can understand the thinking behind wanting to splash down the Rainmaker if you have the read that your opponents are trying to pick it up. But right now, they're in no rush to pick it up. They don't need to pick it up right this second. They know that you're there watching it. So they're going to try and deal with you first. And splashing down right there, especially up against a wall where it's not going to reach out as far in front of you or to the right, it's going to have limited effectiveness. Nobody's going to want to be in there against you yet. They're going to focus on splatting you first, and then they're going to worry about picking up the Rainmaker and stuff. So the splashdown isn't going to get a lot of value at this point in this rank. Maybe in like C or B rank, people are going to hold forward and just try and pick up Rainmaker as soon as they possibly can. But at this rank, people are going to wise up to it and not fall for that trick anymore. And you also just end up standing in the rain for too long. It's important to respect an ink storm. Yes, it doesn't splat you as quickly, but it's also a very big radius, and it may take you some time to get out of it. So you need to be focusing on getting out of it as quickly as you can once you realize that you're standing in it. So there end up being multiple players there. They take you out, and now your team is at a numbers disadvantage because you went down. So them being in this 3v4, you know, they keep consistently finding this kind of pick, which is awesome, but you can't necessarily expect this to happen. You know, given a whole bunch of games to test this in, your team generally loses that fight the majority of the time. So your team does a great job. I'm really scared about that particular jump because you barely land on the edge. You might want to move just a little bit further down so that you're not risking that. We also saw, I think, a charger shot land to the left of us here. Yeah, right there. There's a charger shot. We hear it in time with your teammate getting splatted over here. And, you know, there's a big splotch of yellow ink there. That's something that should immediately grab your attention instead of, like, focusing on the Rainmaker here. We know that there's a charger on our left-hand side, and even though the roller has now been seen to not be with them, that's still a threat to us. So we end up dropping down here. So the roller has gotten behind cover. If you're going to try and combat the roller, it needs to be from range. So you want to be like in a position like this right here where my mouse is, because then they are not in range to hit you, but you are in range to hit them. Or maybe, you know, from up on overlook, if you can hit down that far. I'm not sure if the weapon reaches quite that far. Those are the ways that you want to engage this roller. But if you get close enough to them that you can see, you can just like go over the top of the cover, like you've fired a bunch of shots. They know that you're here. There's only one place they could possibly be, and they're not trying to move out of it, which means they feel like they have an advantage here. You dropping down into this position does not give you an advantage, because you need to hit 2 shots, they only need to hit 1. So your teammate ends up going down, so now you're staggered. They're going up the top right, so I like that you're recognizing which direction they're going, and before you even like drop down, you're already moving to the right instead. So that's good responsiveness to the objective. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the only player who's further forward than you just got splatted, and they got splatted right in front of you. That means that the area right in front of you is no longer safe, as if we couldn't tell from all of the yellow ink that is all of a sudden on the screen. Even though, you know, the Rainmaker is pushing, we do need to back up right now. Now, it would be a smart plan to throw a wall right here, and from here, with the combination of the cover on your left and the wall on your right, you can actually stand your ground a little bit against this. Going up over the top of the cover takes that defensive position away from you. Now you're just out in the open. Now you have nothing to hide behind. This charger can totally just hit you from here. So this is smart. You put the wall out, but we need to recognize also that the Rainmaker is suddenly pushing on our left. We're a little bit slow to respond to that. You probably have a chance to shoot the rail off if Like right here, seeing that it's going to the left here, the only place it could want to go is the rail. If it's going all the way around, it's going to push pretty far into this corner and then start moving forward. So the fact that it's going this way, you already have the information that's going to the rail. And here, I might even skip throwing the wall out for a second because I can still use this for cover. And I might just shoot this immediately instead of trying to get set up against the charger player. Because now they're able to land and they're in single digits immediately off of the rail from there. If you shoot them off the rail, then not only does that stop from scoring a lot quicker, but the Rainmaker respawns at the base of the rail. So they have to back all the way up, even though they made progress further, and that delays their push by a lot longer. Actually, we get splatted by the carbon roller. Where does that come from? Oh, okay. So in the meantime, they're breaking through your wall. So that's just kind of unfortunate because from here, you've probably got the time to actually shoot them off the rail and then turn your attention back to that. But because we're trying to like aim up and behind us, just really, really hard shots, we don't have a good line of sight on it. We miss a lot of shots. It takes us a lot of time to get the shots on, and in that time, they are able to just burst in the front door. So this is a good play from the carbon, recognizing that you're not focusing on it and taking advantage of you having your back turned. But in that kind of a position, if you realize like, oh, I've taken too long and I'm not going to be able to shoot the rail very easily, back up further towards the goal to buy yourself a little more time to hit those shots, and also to give yourself a better line, because if they have to push directly towards you, that gives you an easier shot than if they can like jump up and behind you and start running away from you. And at this point, with that many players down, they should be able to just push for KO at this point, especially with a special displacing anybody who is currently in the way. They pop someone with the pop. Absolutely no way that you're able to defend it at this point, and so the game does end up going to them. So a couple of general pointers. I think one of the big ones is just map awareness. You're starting to develop more of it. Like, there are a lot of players in lower ranks who would have just dropped down onto snipe and not even realized that the Rainmaker was already past them. So it's good that, you know, in that last push, you recognized, oh, I need to be looking to the right. But we need to be, like, refreshing that piece of information, like spotting where the Rainmaker is on a shorter interval so that it doesn't have time to kind of sneak up from behind us like it did over the rail there. That's something that you want to just be kind of always having in your peripheral vision. And as soon as the Rainmaker gets to a location on the map where it's making a commitment to go a certain way, then you want to be checking up on that. So in this instance, it was a commitment for the Rainmaker to go up over to Overlook. So when you spotted that, you started moving to the right in response to the Rainmaker committing to being somewhere. You know, it can always commit to go someplace else, but if it's committing to go someplace else, you rotate faster than it does. So that's always a smart move. The commitment point that you missed was when it went for the rail instead of going for the corner. If it goes for the corner, then where you were was fine. But as soon as it goes for the rail, that's where you need to be making a different decision based on where it's moving. And since you missed that commitment point, I'll call it, you weren't able to respond in time, and so it got past you. Second thing would be know the weapon that you're fighting against when you go in for a 1v1, and don't challenge it in a position that's advantageous to that weapon. In particular, the carbon roller was by far your biggest problem in this game, because you were pushing around the cover that it was hiding behind. Rollers and brushes love it when you do that. They love running around a blind corner and then just immediately stopping and catching you as you walk around, because now all of a sudden you're in range. When you thought you were chasing them, now you've actually just moved yourself right to where they want you. So with, you know, the roller being in a position behind cover, flank that cover and keep your range from it. Like, make sure you're shooting it at max range when you come around the corner, rather than just putting yourself right on top of the roller and hoping you hit shots before they do, because they have a much easier time doing that and they only have to do it once. Lastly, you know, there was a lot to be said, of course, about dropping over ledges, and we talked about that at some length. So that's something to be thinking about. But otherwise, some like minor movement optimizations, and use your wall a little bit more. There were definitely some fights that you took where you didn't have a wall up, where it might have given you time. Like if you were up on snipe that one time where you saw the enemy wall and you were trying to shoot it, if you put up a wall yourself, that buys you a little bit more time to get away against the roller. Like they're going to have to break through that wall or do this really annoying like movement around the wall to get to you. That buys you a ton of time. You probably can just paint your way up and get up away from it if you put a wall out. So make sure you're using that to set up on a location so that you know that that location is safe because you have the wall to use. And then once you've used your safety behind the wall to paint up a little bit more for yourself, then you can consider moving forward a little bit more and putting up a new wall further forward. And that's kind of how you want to move up onto the map in general. Last thing I will say is super jump to teammates more, use your map more. Super jumping to teammates is really important because if you don't, and you had a safe opportunity to do so, it can take you as much as, 5 to 8 seconds to get back out on the map, and that is an eternity in Splatoon time. That is a really long time to be leaving your team in, a 3v4 or a 2v3 kind of situation. Always try to super jump back if there is a safe jump to go for. Now, learning to super jump more, you will probably jump into some more unsafe positions. So always, when you're checking the map, look at how much enemy ink is around the player you're jumping to, and if there is enemy ink that is within that player's weapon range, then reconsider jumping there. But look for any jump that is available to you on respawn, because otherwise you're just leaving your team out to dry for too long. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so.
All right, awesome. If you ever think of any, I'm a DM away. It's really easy. You're already in the Discord, which is how you reached me in the first place. So you should have no problem doing that. Feel free to reach out anytime you want. But with that being said, we are going to, before we move on to Legs' VOD review, we're going to talk about the great YouTube analytics caper.
Oh my god, mystery time.
It is mystery time. Okay, so here's something really weird that happened the other day. So Sunday, July 17th, was our best day on the YouTube channel ever. Just massive, massive spike that you can see here. Way more watch hours, not way more views, but watch hours is really the important metric on YouTube. Way more of those than like on any other day before, and it's not even close. So I was like, wow, I only put out like one video that day. Like, what the heck happened? That wasn't even a special day. Like, I was trying to figure out, like, how do we make that happen more often? And so I look here and I find, there's a whole lot of people that are watching from an external link on this stream VOD, which is weird because I don't post those links anywhere. So why is everybody getting it from an external link? And they're watching it for so long. Like, everybody watched this for like an hour and 5 minutes. Turns out somebody's sharing this around on Facebook, which, what? That's such a roundabout way to get a video. Mind you, this is a stream that happened a day and a half ago. So this isn't even like the spike of viewership that you tend to get, the day of where people are catching up on it. This is like a day after that. And it's also happening at 2 a.m., as you can see from this graph here, when you have more information on it. So I'm like, okay, so maybe this is a bunch of people who are watching it in like Europe, like in the UK, that's 9 a.m. That's a normal time for people to be awake and doing things. Nope, it's mostly the United States. So there are like 300 people who all watched this video for a very, very similar amount of time. Note how the average view duration here is exactly an hour and 5 minutes for both Facebook and Facebook Messenger. So people watching it two different ways are watching it for the same amount of time, all on Facebook, or like off of a Facebook link, all at like 2 a.m. in the United States. So if there's anybody out there who has any bloody idea what is happening here, I would love to know because I'm so curious. But that is all the information that I have to share with you. and have fun looking at graphs or something, I guess, if you're really interested in YouTube metrics. That's all we're going to talk about there. Let's move on to discussing this VOD review for Legs. This was recorded by Devi, so this is going to have spectator cam, which means we're not going to be able to assess map checking and the information gathering that you're seeing. Another important thing that we're not going to be able to assess, that's why I say information gathering, is camera control. We're not going to be able to see exactly what you're looking at because the spectator will focus on a very particular point. So I actually, typically for VOD reviews, even though it looks smoother, it looks better on film. It's actually often better to even get someone videotaping their view of it. And that's why I usually prefer it that way, because we don't get that particular information. I was able to see those things on the 96 Gal VOD review. We won't be able to here, so I'm not going to be talking about that an awful lot. We're just going to talk about other things. But we do have plenty of other things to... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say my map checking does need work, for the record. So
Gotcha.
I know there was a few VODs where I actually particularly opened the map where I figured some people should map check, and I don't remember if this was one of them.
I think you see it like once, but
Okay.
there's not an awful lot.
Yeah, I know I was looking at a bunch of different things, but there was a couple VODs that I've done in the past where I actually do, like, on spectator mode, open the map where I think they should. I just couldn't if this was one of them or not.
That's fine.
Anyway, this you'll recognize a bunch of familiar faces here. This was a private battle that was set up for the purposes of collecting VODs for the VOD review, and we've actually already...
No, we were just chilling.
It just happened. We were all just vibing. We had two quad leagues going on that combined into a PB, and then I'm like, does anyone want VOD reviews?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is the
like,
same way that Woomy19 got their VOD recorded.
It is. And then there's another one in
and
the
there's one other
future.
player, Cactos, yes.
Cactos.
So...
Yeah, I remember I was in the Woomy 19 VOD. I tried to do statue flank and got rolled. That was me. But...
Hi, so you just wave from there like, hi, Mom.
Totally.
And look at how far you've come. Now you're the one who we get to see get rolled over by a roller. I don't know if that actually happens, but... All right.
Not this time.
So we will also hear some call-outs here. Definitely, it's a group of players who are getting to the point where call-outs are starting to become an interesting thing to learn. I won't say that the players that we're hearing are all like super adept at callouts yet. They're still working on figuring out where the locations are and figuring out what's efficient to say, figuring out how to assemble a team offense that they can coordinate together. But there's plenty that we can talk about there, and probably will. Just I won't say an awful lot about other people's callouts right now. The only time I'm going to really bring that up is in talking about things that you should be using as information to make your decisions with. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking about your callouts.
Yeah, I think this was like my second session ever playing with callouts, so they're not going to be great, but whatever.
But yeah, it's good that you're doing it. It really is. It's a great experience. Because if you've never played with callouts before, callouts are hard. Like, callouts take up this whole huge part of your brain that up until now you've been able to use to try and make decisions about where you're going to go and like what you're going to do. Even at top level, like a lot of the most mechanically skilled players don't say a lot on the mic. They count on somebody else to shot call for them a lot of the time so that they can focus on their mechanics. There's even an argument to be made that's like there is a limit to how much you should call out for that reason, that you're going to be less mechanically focused while you're doing that. I tend more towards being a shot caller, so I say a lot on the mic, but not everybody is going to, have that play style. So,
for sure.
All right, so rolling out here, we are standing on top of a lot of our teammates right now.
People, yeah.
One thing that callouts are really useful for is figuring out your rollout, figuring out what you're going to do from spawn when you get onto the map, because what you want to set up here is crossfire. You want to be close enough to your teammates that you can help them in a fight, but far enough away from them that one bomb is not going to threaten all of you and make you all scatter in different directions. which is exactly what should happen right now.
The suction ball.
So Cougar C gets pushed forward, and he's in a dangerous position underneath this player, and ends up going down. You're forced over to the right, so you can't possibly help in that fight, even though you having fire on the player who is shooting them would have actually been huge for helping you win that fight. And I don't even know where Annie ended up on the left-hand side here, but she got forced way over out of play in that direction. So that pick happens basically because we all converged on the same spot, and we weren't able to help each other when we got pushed. If it's just one person who's getting pushed from that location and you're standing on, say, a wall while that happens, they can just retreat underneath you. And if somebody does try to push them, well, they've got a range blaster watching them. Like, that is a absolutely suicidal idea to try and push in front of your wall when the range blaster is watching that. This position that they're taking right here is exactly where you could have been. And it's, again, controlling that really crucial part of mid that your team needs to have control of to be safe from that bomb.
Okay.
So that's an idea for you here, but you immediately rotate back to mid because you know that this is an important location. You know that your teammates are mostly on the left, so you're looking to see, you know, if someone's pushing them on the left, if you can maybe get a flank angle, if you can control mid from here, and you notice someone dropping into mid, and that's a really dangerous thing for them to do. I'm actually really surprised this doesn't direct. That's super duper close to a direct, but ooh,
Man.
Unfortunate. Once you basically only get one shot against a blob. After that, you need to move, and you don't necessarily need to disengage, but if a blob, you know, has good aim and hits all 4 of their blobs on you, you need to be moving laterally so that not all 4 of the blobs can possibly hit you. Dodging left and right is a very consistent way to not die to blobs. You're going to get hit by the blobs, but you're not going to get hit by all of them, and you're not going to get one shot. So after this one shot hits like that, swim strafe to the left just a little bit, and I bet that they miss you, and I bet you're able to get your second shot in time. I think
For sure.
I think that sparks. I think that's super unfortunate. Like, the
Right?
shot,
Yeah, it like looks
the
like
shot
it should have hit.
definitely goes out there, and it does hit. You can see the little indicator there. So blasters have this thing called a spark hitbox, which is extremely low damage. I think it does like 12 or 17 or something like that. So your indirect plus a spark is still not enough to kill, and that's why this second shot doesn't actually hit them. Just a little bit too inaccurate on the second shot. I'm just really surprised you didn't get the direct in the first place. Like, it looked like it was spot on.
I didn't even know about the spark hitbox. That's interesting.
Bob's on.
So now Annie is back here, and who else is up? It's Cactus. Cactus is way up in a dangerous position right now.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing for a brush, but what it also means is that nobody's defending the objective right now. So them taking out this end zap, maybe not the most important thing. What might be more helpful is if they've got the zap scared here, and it looks like they might because they've got a whole bunch of paint on here. What they could probably do is just put the brush down and run around behind them and flank. So what I might be calling is like, we're 2 down, focus objective, or we're 2 down, be careful, or something. That'll hopefully get Annie to play really safe and not go down to like the Nautilus here, and make Cactus aware that like, yeah, you're a brush, so go and do brush things, but be aware that like, if you're doing brush things over here, nobody's actually stopping the tower from pushing.
Right tower.
Okay, so they end up going down anyway. And Annie is probably in trouble because they're stuck down here, and they've also just made themselves known. A call out like, we're 2 down, or you're last, is huge in a situation like that, because what an experienced player should do when they hear that is immediately hide, play safe, not take any positions that are going to draw aggro, potentially just jump back to spawn.
Yeah, I've been doing that more. I think when we were doing League, I was trying to do that earlier, but
Walking into rain is
bad.
it's not only is it going to obviously put you in the danger of getting splatted by rain, but it's not even the most efficient way for you to get to the tower to start defending it. What you want to be doing here, because you've got this shot right here that'll let you swim around, because where you end up standing here, first of all, you're left side peeking, and you could be right side peeking around this wall. Second of all, the tower's moving away from you. You usually want, on defense, especially if you're going to start aggressing the tower, you want the tower to be moving toward you so that they can't escape you by just hiding on the tower for a couple seconds and waiting for it to move a little further. They immediately have to deal with you because they're only going to get closer to you as time goes on. And you are a blaster and you are scary on the tower. But from here, because of the positioning, you're now forced to back up, which puts you far enough away from the tower that you're out of range completely. Whereas you could have just moved a little bit to the right and been out of range of the tower and still... Or you would have been out of range of the rain and still be in range of the tower. So now you have to do this really wide turn around it. And it puts you in this awkward spot. So armor goes out, and I think what you're doing here is trying to take advantage of the armor. Now, you got to be a little careful in this position. Remember I said think of armor as a one-player numbers advantage. Thing is, you're already one down. So this is basically something to think of as a 4v4. In a 4v4, in a neutral position, you don't just want to drop over a ledge into enemy ink. I mean, you don't want to do that a lot of the time, but especially when you don't have an advantage. So, one thing to point out is this shot right here. I like that you're, trying to help Annie out. They're just a little bit too far away, so this probably isn't going to hit someone. And the danger of it is that now everybody knows exactly where you are, because they can see, okay, they've got a range blaster on their team. That was clearly a blaster shot. So the range blaster, just measuring back from how far I know a range blaster's range is standing at about this spot and looking in this direction. So you now have at least 2 people in mid that are watching you. They've even pre-fired this angle. That's a clear sign that I do not want to be dropping there, because now Goose is aware, like, I am in exactly this position. So dropping here, like, if you're able to, hit that whole combo and, like, get the direct and then the indirect and splat them, you're still at a huge risk of going down in a 1-for-1 trade, because they have a teammate who's on the other side here that could easily just pinch you and be underneath the wall where your teammates can't help, and Cactus is too far out of play to get involved in this. So this is at best a 1-for-1 trade, but that's a relatively unlikely thing to happen. And in fact, you do end up getting them, but that's the best that you could have hoped for. So what I would say here is, like, you as the range blaster, and this is something that I'm finding out playing as edge blaster, your job is not to initiate or frontline your fights. Your job is to support your frontline in the fights that they take. And when you do that, you can absolutely frag out. But they're the ones who need to engage the enemy first so that you can take an advantageous fight while still keeping a position that's advantageous to you. You need to keep your range, and doing that means there are only certain places on the map you want to be standing. If you need to advance through a place that you don't want to be standing to get to another place you want to be standing, a frontliner has to clear that for you first. So when this armor goes out, I'm maybe moving towards Cactus or waiting for Cougar C to finish firing these missiles and then for them to drop in or do something. But you want one of these guys, engaging on something. Otherwise, you're just trying to poke. You're just trying to paint a little bit. You're trying to threaten space. You're trying to maybe tag someone's armor off with a burst bomb or something like that. Actually, they don't have armor yet, but going in and trying to frontline, that's about the most you're going to expect, and that's with you getting a pretty difficult direct to hit.
But I guess I probably could have tried to go around the block instead and poke on the left side.
Yeah, so right side peeking from around here, you can still throw that same burst bomb you threw, but now you can just stay completely safe without having to drop down. And maybe with them looking at you and shooting up at you or something, Cactus is able to find a flank angle in that time because you're staying alive and keeping their attention. You can skirmish for them. So that's one possible idea there. I would say, though, that there is a weakness in your comp, which is that you don't have a lot of weapons that are capable of pushing up very strongly. You have a brush who can kind of flank and be annoying and draw people away in a certain direction, but when it comes to actually fighting the enemy team head on, you don't have a lot of weapons that are going to be able to just hold forward and win fights. You don't have something like a K-52. You don't have something like a bubble weapon that can insta-pop. You don't have something like a T-Tech who's just going to like throw a bomb and then take the fight, or like throw a bomb and then inkjet and move off of that. The Foil Flingza and the Grim Range are both very passive weapons in the sense that they need somebody else to start a fight for them to finish the fight. The Flingza maybe a little bit less so because it can get up under a ledge and then play really aggressively from there, but it depends on the terrain of the map to be able to do stuff like that. It can't just kind of create that space for itself. It's much happier sitting back and farming for missiles. So this is something that, happened in Weapon Select, where you guys are going to put yourself in a position where even with the armor, you don't really have anyone who wants to hold forward with that armor and start fights against the likes of a Nautilus, especially with blob support. Like, between the Nautilus and the blob, honestly, you really shouldn't be getting this trade. Yeah. Goose should probably already be hitting... Maybe this first shot misses, but even in midair, they should be correcting their aim to start hitting you. And they miss a lot of shots here. You could easily and should easily have gone down before you were able to find that second shot on them. So... I say this, not to criticize Goose, just to say, like, don't expect that to continue working the better you get at the game.
Yeah.
Got Blaze.
All right, so...
Alright, I got the...
Cougar C and Cactus are able to move in and essentially win a 2v3. What happens here? How does this work? So Soli gets kind of trapped out by the missiles, and Cactus... And what happens there?
Alright.
Oh, so the roller goes down somewhere off screen. I guess Cactus maybe flanks them. Then you get Goose. Oh yeah, Cactus gets them over there. So now it's a 2v2, and now this is actually a good position for them to be going in on, because the missiles from Cougar C are finally landing, and so they know where people are. They don't have a lot of paint. This is a good fight for those two to be taking. They do a great job of cornering Soli here, and they get a clean pick, which is awesome. And Cougar C is already on tower, which is awesome, taking advantage of the numbers advantage that you've gained for yourselves by immediately starting to push the tower. You want to be getting in position fairly quickly, and what you want to be getting in position for is the defense of the first checkpoint. In tower control, you want to play the objective line. Where does the tower have to move? Well, it has to move over here. Where do I have the best angle that I can contest that area from, that I can push someone out of from? I would say it's from on top of stacks, or if you want to be a little bit sneakier about it and a little bit less visible, you can maybe like swim over here and peek over like this piece of cover and try and hit someone from that angle. If you're taking that kind of an angle, then you're going to be able to prevent people from getting to the tower from over here. And if you're up top, you're going to be able to watch both of them, but you're going to be a little bit more exposed. So you want to watch out for something like the Nautilus to be in your way. And the roller to be right here. You're actually pretty lucky that didn't kill you. Good job backing up. Now, yeah, I can see this shot. You're trying to make sure that they're not following you. They haven't had time to get all the way up there just yet, and firing this does give away your position a little bit. So I might just like burst bomb my feet and try and move a little further away until I can get a better angle to see them. Because coming up here is tempting fate. If they're on the other side of this wall and they see me coming...
I'm in their base.
That right there, roller swings over the top, you're dead.
Okay. I'm going to hit armor and take the tower.
So it's a little bit risky.
Careful, roller's coming.
And I was going to recommend that you move over to the right-hand side quicker, but you moving over here, you can see what angle it gave you. Soli was in a very exposed position, so you're able to get an easy direct as soon as you see that. But even if they had been behind cover here, you can still threaten them from behind the wall here, and you can threaten any frontliner who tries to approach you from up over the top. Knowing that the roller is on this left-hand side, there are very few weapons that you're actually scared of being over here. So this is a great place for you to start, pushing in from. And it also, on top of all of that, gives you a better angle to see what's going on the back of the enemy stack. So if the roller is still there, you can actually flush them out from behind cover.
I got blob.
Okay, got...
So it looks like the roller went down there, so your biggest threat is going to be on the other side of that wall. Pushing into the front of the enemy wall here isn't giving you line of sight on anything. It's not giving you any advantages. maybe I guess you're trying to get up the wall or get around the corner or something, but there's just too much enemy ink in front of you. And since your team doesn't have control of the tower, there's no reason for you to want to control this yet. In this 2v2 situation, your goal is number 1, stay alive. Number 2, create some space on the map so that your teammates can move back into mid again.
Got traded with the roller.
But being right here, you just have too many walls around you. Not only can you not see, but you can't shoot for very far around you. If a short-range weapon drops on you here, there's nothing that you're actually going to have a range advantage against. You favor your open sight lines because you're the longer-ranged weapon.
Very nice.
Knock up and
So because they now know you're here, because you made yourself clear, they've probably called you out. They've seen this shot. They've seen you swim. There's someone here and there's someone over here. If they just both rush you as soon as you push in here, you're so committed to being on this location that there is just no way out. Maybe if you had swam as fast as you could through this line of ink, you could test Goose's aim, but they can, in theory, hit that. It's just less likely that they do than if you stand and fire a shot and keep yourself still and give your position away. Like right here, your teammate just painted this, so don't stop and shoot. Just swim out, and then you're far enough away that maybe you survive.
Where's that? Okay, nice. Okay. That's behind tower by our...
so your teammate really wants to... Okay, it's a brush, so they can probably stay alive there. I don't know if they want to. I don't know if that's a position they care about. Yeah. They probably could have jumped out in that position. And that would be a good time to call, like, you're alone, you're last, something like that. Because you and Annie were both spawning back onto plat. You guys are not going to be able to help Cactos with that.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What information do we have on the way out here? So we saw someone flicker through here, so there's someone in front of our wall. We saw the roller over here, so they're going after Cactos. And they get Cactos. The person who's coming around our wall is shooting on the right now. And then we also saw someone in mid over there. Now there's an inkjet, and this is just...
Lucky.
My thought there, because you're too close right now. If you're a little bit further away, and like, the risk of this basically is this player should, if they're launching over a wall like this, already have a target in mind, and you're most likely to be that target since you're closest to it. And if they have a target in mind, they should have their aim set, and they should hit this first direct. That's what you usually count on happening if you just kind of stand there. If you see this launching up over the top and they haven't fired that shot immediately, what you do is you kind of swim off the ledge and initiate a super jump as you're falling off the ledge. That makes it so that they only get an indirect on you in all likelihood as you swim off. And then before they can get another shot, a good angle for another shot, because you're putting these walls kind of in their way, it's really awkward for them to hit down there, you can get a super jump out, and hopefully they don't splat you for that. This, I guess, is a good second option, but this is a jumping blaster direct.
Yeah.
And this happens a couple of times in this match. For those who don't know, when you jump with the blaster, your aim RNG spikes massively. It's about as bad as like an Aerospray's aim RNG when you're at the very peak of your jump. You will jump and shots will just go sideways, and it looks silly.
These buff aren't jump RNG on range blaster spot 3.
Yeah, so when I talked, because in Splatoon 1 there was no aim RNG, and this weapon was absolutely broken. It was one of the stronger weapons in the game. Lots and lots of competitive players loved the blasters in that game because they were just accurate. You could just hit things and splat them immediately. And there wasn't anything like armor to make them less effective. There was bubbler, I guess, but that makes everything less effective. So it's not like it impacted blasters disproportionately then. Now, the thing about the aim RNG is as you approach the ground, it actually gets better. So if you are going to go for jump shots, you don't fire when you're at the top of your jump. You fire on your way down when you're really close to the ground. That's one way to minimize the aim RNG. Another way to minimize the aim RNG is just to stay grounded whenever there's a shot that you absolutely need to hit. I don't blame you for moving during that, though. and honestly, I don't even blame you for taking the shot. Sometimes you do have to just go for the jumping direct and pray. And sometimes it works out for you, like it did there. Like, that was a good play because, well, I mean, what else are you going to do? Respawn? Jumping out is basically respawning. So if you're not going to try and do that, then this is your best option that you have. So, you know, good job going for that. It's not a bad idea to jump and shoot if you're trying to poke. Because just like in players would in Splat 1, jump shotting does give you movement while you're firing your very, very slow weapon. Buckets do this all the time because they don't have the same aim RNG problem. They will jump while, you know, throwing the roller out, while sloshing. Because what else are they going to do to move? And that's a way that they can stay mobile. For the same reason, sometimes a blaster will want to do that. You'll see it especially a lot with Luna blasters, like Rafa jump shots a lot, because if he's only going for indirects, he's probably still going to hit the indirect even if the aim RNG is bad. It's a little bit worse for range blasters, but you still, you know, have a big AoE cone in front of you where it's going to hit stuff. So still, you know, have the potential of hitting the indirect, and a lot of the time the indirect is all you need. It is still a 2-shot weapon. It can be a 1-shot weapon if somebody's damaged someone already. So not necessarily a bad idea to jump. You just have to think, like, if I need to hit this shot right now, I either want to be at point blank range or I don't want to jump.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm just kind of,
I got him. Fine.
you know. Okay, this right
Another
here. Let's talk about this
You got a
shot,
direct on the 9.
because this one's very silly.
Yeah, I didn't need to. I could have just aimed up, I guess.
Your aim is not on at all for
Oh
this
yeah, I
shot.
know.
Like,
It's
this
just
should indirect at best, but probably completely miss. But the thing is, look at the angle of the
Yeah.
range blaster and look at where the shot goes.
this is really dumb. But
It's aiming over here, and the shot hits over here. That's the aim RNG of the range blaster for you.
I just
another
have a
direct on
great
the-
bond with my weapon, you know.
Yeah, you were getting.
I just
You believed in the heart of the cards.
our
The,
friendship.
the Pokemon were good friends with you, and so they believed in
exactly.
you and wanted to work hard for you. That was basically how that went. So that shot just works. From here, you don't have as much of a reason to be jumping. Because you're just trying to paint forward in a straight line. You could have painted that straight line from standing still. And because you're jumping, you aren't able to move as quickly in response to Soli. Now, fortunately, Soli didn't know that you were here either, and so they take a second to fire a shot, but if that shot is on target, you actually don't get yours out in time. See, the last blob is already trailing over to here. So if they hit all 4 of those, and this is point-blank range, it's relatively easy to hit that if they can react in time, you actually aren't able to get this. So the jump actually could have gotten you splatted there.
One on the blob.
Yeah, I think it's just a habit from playing other weapons. Like I mentioned before, I play like
Alright, I'm in
a ton
fight
of things,
with,
so I just need to keep it more in mind when I'm playing Grim.
So here, for instance, here you've got someone who's like trying to get up this wall and failing. You know they're stuck in their movement. It's a very clear-cut decision for me. I'm going to swim until I am in range, and then I'm going to fire a grounded shot at exactly this location. And
Avoid jump again.
you
never
you
I back up,
pause and like main strafe when they're not like. It seems like you're worried that they're going to fire at you, but they're focused on the wall right now. Like, if somebody messes up their movement on a wall, they're still staring at that wall. So just swim into range, and you know that you outrange most of the weapons on their comp, and you just splatted one of the ones that you don't. So you getting into your max range and then firing a direct is going to be way too quick for them to respond to. The worst case scenario is that this is a Nautilus, in which case it still has to get charged before it can shoot at you. So you have time to fire one shot that you think is going to direct, and if that misses, back up. But right now, you don't need to be playing so safe. You can just go straight up, take that one aggressive shot, and then if you miss it or something, play from there. But this is a little bit more safe than you have to play. It ends up working out. The risk is that Wumi19 is able to get the 1v1 pick on Cactos in the meantime.
Yes, thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Knots behind that.
Oh
my gosh.
Yes, thank you for that.
So from right here, yes, you are a long-range weapon and you want to be, playing to your range. But there's all this orange ink in front of you, and if somebody does appear here, you need to worry about that, because now you don't have any cover at all. And that is the very worst weapon that could be on the map. It happens to be in the worst position for you right now, and that's the immediate threat you need to deal with. What I want to be doing is using the tower for cover in this position, because you can stop anyone from coming from the left still if you're using the tower for cover, but this angle right here, you can actually be right side peeking from there. The missiles from here, they should just be pushing. Oh, okay, Goose goes down, actually.
I have missiles.
So this doesn't work for you because you fired the missiles. It works for you because you have a teammate pushing them over the right-hand side that actually happens to get them as they try to close in on you here. If it's just you versus the Knot, and you have no reason to believe it's not right now, you just go down to this.
Yeah, the missiles were like a panic thing.
Goose is problematic.
So the reason that this burst bomb doesn't paint is that you fire it a little too early, and you just hit the pole. If you fire that, you know, take just a little bit less time and have your aim actually down at your feet where you want it, that's when it hits the bottom. So, just in case.
Yeah, I do that too much.
I got ends up.
Is there any way we could have done better against this? I would say
I probably could have been behind the pole a bit more.
Right. I would say since they're in range, you don't want to like challenge them directly here, because that's most likely to lead to a trade. Especially if you're going for burst bomb and then shot. If you're going to try and take the 1v1 at their range, you need a direct to be able to win that, decisively enough. So from this position, yeah, I would agree. Back up behind the pole and right side peek it. And they're still not close enough to the tower that you're not going to be able to shoot down at them from there.
Yeah,
so you probably stand a good chance of taking that fight cleanly instead. Knowing that there's a roller over here, I would probably have called that out to my team, just like, they probably don't know because it's like right behind cover over here, and I know I have teammates on the right, so that might threaten them if they don't know about it. Looks like Cougar C ends up having it covered, but
I'm gonna
something to think about.
I'm distracting Goose right now.
I like that you're jumping. That was really good.
I'm gonna jump.
I'm distracting Goose right now.
Right here, you see that the blob is not looking at you, so you don't have to get your shots on immediately. Now is your chance to line up your shot so that you're definitely going to hit it. Because I think the slope messes you up a little bit. I think you end up turning more than you expect because you went down over the ledge a little bit. But you're not even in range yet. And I think if you just take half a second to ascertain the situation and move a little bit closer in, that's a much easier splat for you to get. Now they just get to run away.
Two of them distracted.
You might be able to slip through here, but if you're going to slip through here, I would immediately be trying to get down this ramp and use that for cover, because a blob shooting around the side here, especially one that's had time to back up as much as it has, it's probably dangerous to you.
Okay, good. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they end up you end up having your teammate collapse on that at the same time. They are... Oh, right, Cactus is up on their plat right now, so they actually come from behind them. And that's why they have to back up this far. But if they're just looking for you, that's probably a dangerous push.
On the right, Goose.
The jump shot here, again, probably slower than it needs to be. If you're jump shotting and using the jump to move further forward,
Two of them distracted.
then that can save you some time.
Someone's flanking on the
But like
right.
here, you're landing in enemy ink, so you're going to have to paint your feet again anyway. Might as well just take a grounded shot that actually gets all of this and be able to paint straight through it.
Two of them distracted.
Because you don't need like extra range like you would get from fall off of jumping. You need this shot to paint your feet in front of you
Right, Goose is
to
on
be
the
able to
right.
move as fast as
Bringing
possible.
I got blob.
So you're not going to get punished for that in that position, but it's a movement optimization that might, for instance, give you the ability to swim up to the edge of this paint and direct Goose in the back in time.
Armor.
Okay.
I got not.
And you do end up doing that anyway, because they're distracted by somebody else. But like, if they had been painting to maybe try and get on this wall, they might have been able to get away in time. I like the use of the burst bomb. That's exactly what you want to be doing. You don't need to be moving there. I think what's happening here is when you're engaging on a fight, you're not tracking whether the opponent is paying attention to you. Because if they are paying attention to you, then the movement that you're using is exactly what you want to be doing. You want to be keeping yourself safe, making it hard for them to hit shots while you find your own. But if they're shooting at your teammate,
Yeah.
just line up your shots so you don't miss. Because this whole thing right here forces Annie to take this as a 1v1. And that's not something that I expect an NZAP to win. Like, good job to Annie for winning it, but you were not a factor in that fight because you were too scared of this roller who's out of range and looking at somebody else.
Okay, I got the roll.
Yeah.
Okay, I have
I can
missiles.
take. I'm gonna take tower.
Right.
Okay.
Nice.
Stay
So we get a whole bunch of missiles, and that I like that as an initiation special because that gives
I'm gonna take
your team not only information, but it puts pressure on the enemy team. And you pop them as soon as we get a pick. This is a great chance for your teammates to get up on top of the wall. Now, unfortunately, it looks like we're not... We might be actually be on the tower a little bit early here because we don't have anybody in front of it, which is unfortunate because I think on this comp you actually want Annie pushing. I think you want Annie helping you push forward a little bit. You riding the tower might actually be a good thing here because you can hit up over the top and use AoE to support Annie and Cactus as they push onto the plat with their short-range weapons that are going to be maneuverable there. I think that's probably the call here if, you know, I'm planning this out ahead of time.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Because otherwise, like, Annie is furthest forward right now, and they're on the tower, which makes them vulnerable. That falls apart pretty quickly because you just don't have front line pushing up.
All right. We got. I got lead. I got lead.
Nice.
All right.
And then this is a criticism. I said I wasn't going to talk about other people's callouts.
We got.
A push to lead of 85 is not something to get yourself killed for. Just jump out in this kind of a position.
I got lead.
Nice.
Like, this isn't going to break a checkpoint. This is, as soon as they splat you, they have enough time to just push it to a lead of their own.
Not got me. He's like.
Okay.
He's in mid
So-
fire ledge.
As a team, like, don't make that a goal of yours. I would definitely be calling that they're pushing up cut. Because if there's anybody on my team who is considering dropping plat, they need to know not to do that because there's going to be a roller sharking.
Okay, Inkjet, be careful.
Good job supporting Cougar C with the paint there. That might have actually saved their lives by making them able to get away. Now, unfortunately, they still don't have a way out, and they're focused on something on the left instead of the... They need to be getting cover from the Inkjet at this point. Otherwise, what Goose is doing is just going to work. I think you're not recognizing your range here. You are not in range to be hitting the Inkjet at all. What I'd be doing instead is positioning for this player, because this player is the NZAP. I know I have range on them, and if I can just get behind something I can right side peek, they do not get to walk up this ramp. And in fact, if the Inkjet doesn't focus on me, I might be able to push up close enough to them to just direct them and remove them from play. Because they can't swim right now. They're on unpaintable turf. So that's actually a really good target that I would be trying to aim for. Now that they're up here, they can play around this cover and they have ink they can swim in. You've lost a better opportunity to defend them from getting up into your bats. And this is the most important area on the map for you to defend in tower control. Once they get to second checkpoint, if you've lost this, you have no way to attack the checkpoint at all. And they're going to get another 20 points past the checkpoint because it goes behind cover the entire way. So you really need to hold at second checkpoint as a team. Giving this up by just letting them walk up is it's a much bigger objective than trying to contest an Inkjet that's going to land in mid after it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's.
Someone's on the right in our base.
All right, got not.
You have armor. Watch out.
Rollers underneath you, so you need to be careful over this ledge. I wouldn't even be this close at this point. Pushing around here is really dangerous, not just because there is a bubble on you, not just because there is a roller near you, but because of the way the camera is positioned, the bubble is going to prevent you from seeing. And maybe that's not actually the way that it was, because, you know, again, we're looking from spectator cam, but it probably was at least for a second at the time. And not being able to see the roller in that moment is pretty dangerous. So what am I doing here? I'm backing up and waiting for the roller to push into me, basically. I'm shooting over this angle right here so that they either have to push back around in this angle or they have to just kind of wait there and be sad. If I am taking this angle, I'm taking it because the bubble isn't there so that I can see it or like shoot through the space it's taking up. And then, you know, if this bubble isn't there, I can back up far enough that I can use my range against the roller. And then this is a really good play.
No.
I like that you fire this shot here. what I would do is, seeing that this doesn't hit anything, I know that there's nobody that's in my range over here. So I would actually drop down over the left and keep pursuing it, because I can probably keep flushing them out. That was probably just... What happens there? I think that's a bomb. Yeah, that's just a bomb. So, like, I think you get worried that maybe there's somebody on this location, but there was no way for them to have pushed up to here. So, like, going over here is losing you some time. Cougar C does a good job of cleaning up, but you weren't as impactful on the tower because you didn't push up and support the push that he was putting in from the side by flushing someone out from here. You flush someone out from here into Cougar C's range, you probably get another pick off of that.
Okay.
All right. So we're kind of in a holding pattern waiting for our teammates, but it would be good to put a burst bomb on that person's feet. It's good to like put a burst bomb there and then wait to see if their teammates respond. If like the Nautilus is watching as soon as this player's landing, waiting for you to try and take them out, then you back off from it. But if nobody is in position to stop you, maybe you just walk a little bit further forward and get the direct.
I'm gonna catch that jump.
I'm going to catch that jump. Hits the player who's trying to defend the jump instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, the knot actually would have been there. Based on where they were sitting, you probably actually would have hit Goose with the burst bomb and flushed them out, and maybe that would have led to something good. That probably actually would have stopped them from defending the jump, and then maybe if your teammate engaged Goose, you could have gotten the jump or something like that. So definitely throw that burst bomb down there. That can be a good disruption. But being on tower here... You have one player who's up here behind you. You know that there's someone here because you shot them and their shot's coming from the left. Now you need to run backwards. You've been given all of the cues that you need to be like, oh, I do not own this space yet. I need to run.
Popping missiles.
Oh, there's like everyone right there.
Another thing is that you have missiles right now, so you want to be playing to preserve your lives until you get to use them. Going down right now loses your team more than just a player. It loses them special advantage.
I'm popping missiles.
Okay. There's like everyone right there.
So let's see what happens. We're 3v4. We've got a couple of specials, and your teammates do a good job of staying alive, and they get 2 picks. Awesome job, Annie.
Okay, I'm taking tower.
Let's go.
It's only blob left.
Rain. Alright, I can tower.
I'll never complain about my teammates popping off.
It's only blob left.
Okay, so from here, Cactus is already up here, which means, you know, if they're not getting shot at right now, you probably have time to get up into this position right here and have range on someone before they can attack you. And then you can move to, you know, a better location when you want to. That's one way that you can get into a position that matters a little bit more than being stuck in front of wall or plat. You could also try and come up this side and maybe get up onto this wall and try to take the top left. The other option I would say is to get on tower and then jump across from tower onto the wall. But anything other than doing one of those 3 things is putting you out of play and behind the objective for a really long time. So I think you're doing this to pop missiles. You probably could have just popped missiles from on top of the stacks, because you can see, again, that your frontliners are pushed so far up that there's no way anyone gets to you before they have to fight Cactus.
I have missiles too. I got missile too.
Nice, let's do it.
Mine just
We push.
Okay.
So I think from here we do hop up over the top, which is good. I like this play, and we're working with Cactus. You distract Goose for a little bit. I think if Goose is watching up over the top a little bit better, they might be able to get just the 1v1 with Cactus before Cactus can get up close, but they get distracted by you. What needed to happen in order for that to be a safe fight against a top-level player is you need to actually be in range of Goose while Cactus is pushing in. Because what Goose could have done is recognize that you're not far enough to hit them yet, and turned their attention to Cactus earlier and lasered them down, and then been able to 1v1 you and use cover for that.
Alright, they're 2 down.
Nice. Oh, Blobber's here.
Gotta hit him, Bob.
I like that shot. You're anticipating where Soli is about to move. You see the splash out of the corner of your eye, you move over here. You're like, okay, well, they're probably going to try and back up as soon as they miss these shots. So I'm going to put the shot right there, which is perfect. You set Cactus up really well.
Okay, nice. Oh, they got me off the tower, but we got lead now.
And I like the attempt to take that shot. That player just kind of surprises you and you don't have a good angle on them.
Gotta hit him, Bob.
You actually do see a flash of ink on your screen that lets you know they're there right here.
There. Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots that are on your screen. That's pretty fast. I don't necessarily blame you for missing that. That splash of ink I notice and now I see them here. If I see all of those things ahead of time, I want to be a little bit further back. I want to be behind this piece of cover, because being too close to cover means I have to aim up higher, and it means that they can back up and be out of range of my shots hitting. If I'm a little further back, I can probably direct this guy. From here, it's really hard to hit that when they're submerged in the ink. Nice shot, though. And you get 2 because Cactus is popping off and hitting everybody for a little bit of damage.
Okay,
Unfortunate that you're not able to land on the tower there.
Alright, keep going.
And I don't think there was really much you could do. What you could do, though, is on your way down, what I would do is fire either... Yeah, it would have to be a main weapon shot. Fire a main weapon shot at the top of the wall. That way, it'll paint the side of the wall so that you're able to swim up it, and it'll paint your feet so you're able to swim far enough to jump to the wall, land on it, and then swim up the top, over the top. That way, you don't have to fire the second shot, and you're on it a lot faster. And also remember to burst bomb your feet on the tower.
Yeah, I don't think I did enough ink, but...
Alright, I got Goose.
Nice. I saw that.
I think you probably did after
Alright,
swimming for that
Cleaning,
long.
cleaning. Alright, keep going.
Nice, nice.
Oh, I might have.
30 seconds.
I don't know.
Oh,
Like, you
cleaning,
swam for that long, you have like a full half tank, and then you swim for a little more. So you have enough for one shot. You'll recharge ink as you swim here, and then you'll have enough for a burst bomb on the way up.
Oh, Goose got me as soon as I jumped.
Alright, I got Goose.
And you're not worried about being out of ink once you get to the tower, because it's pushing away from the play. So by the time you get back to the play, you'll be in the
I'll
ink
have
again.
enough. Okay.
I saw that.
Alright, I got Goose.
Nice.
Here, again, you could probably just right side peek around the tower pole.
Okay.
Because you're trying to left side peek and you fire a little too early, so you hit the pole. If you right side peek with the main weapon, you can get that around a lot more consistently and in less time. Jumping off, probably unnecessary, because again, you're taking evasive maneuvers when they can't hit you. You're behind the pole. There's no way the blob ever hits you off the tower when you're behind the pole like that. So just right side peek them from around the pole.
Oh, I'm dead.
That buys your team more objective time because you stay on the tower and keep it pushing. And it also gives you high ground so that you're not at a disadvantage in these fights. Like, if you stay on tower right now, you have range on anybody who approaches you from the right-hand side, which is where they end up coming from.
I'm dead.
And so now this player can't just, walk at you. This player can't just, walk at you. They can now because you're on unpaintable turf, and you don't, have the ability to fire shots at them right away.
I'm back on tower.
Oh,
no.
I think we're good. I think we just defend. Kurgs, don't
just
overextend. Please don't.
No.
Please don't overextend.
At this point, calling "don't overextend." It's kind of like saying, and I know this isn't you, and I said I wouldn't talk about other people's callouts, but I just want to put this out there. Saying "don't overextend" is like saying "don't mess up. Don't mess up. You better not mess up."
Okay.
Don't press the red button that says "don't press." What you want to do is give someone an active call out. What is a thing that you do instead? Call out the alternative to the course of action they are taking. So in this case, it would be jump out, Cougar C, jump out, jump out. Just find a place and jump.
Go back.
Please go back.
Yeah,
Please.
I've definitely caught myself saying don't overextend before, so I'll keep that in mind.
Stop the tower.
Another thing is it almost shows, in some cases, people can interpret it as having a lack of faith in them. Oh, please, dude, please do. Just this once, is kind of how it can be interpreted. So, again, just give them an alternative. And it's probably faster to say anyway than don't overextend. Just jump out. 2 syllables.
Okay, I got knocked them off tower.
Whew. Good job recognizing there was a bomb there and backing away from it. That's a tricky one to spot.
Okay, taking tower.
Beautiful. That is exactly what I wanted you to do. You stay submerged in the ink, so they can't see you, they can't shoot at you, they have no angle on you whatsoever from, the way that you move forward, and then you pop out a burst bomb into shot. Did you have to jump? Absolutely not. Could have just fired that from the ground. But the idea is exactly right. You play the objective exactly when you have a great advantage over it, and you have a huge advantage right here. You can kind of right side peek around this wall. On this side, you're protected from anyone on the ground. The tower has to push into your range. The only way that they stop this play is already having someone in front of the tower in this position shooting up at you. And they do not have that yet, as you know.
Don't knock them off.
You can see someone there, but Annie takes them out.
But
That player needed to be in position to splat you in order to stop this from happening, and they're not, so you take perfect advantage of it.
Nice.
Boom.
Let's go.
Game over. Good stuff.
GGs.
Cool.
So, major takeaways.
Good job.
Number one, keep your range. Jumping is situational, so probably think about whether you want to do it or not. Like, have there be a flowchart to it. Have there be kind of a trigger in your mind for, I'm going this direction on the flowchart and jumping, or I'm going this direction on the flowchart and not jumping, rather than just jumping by default. Be willing to push up into your range and fire a shot at someone if you have a shot and they're not paying attention. In general, pay attention to whether they see you or not and make decisions based on that. If they don't see you, take your time and line the shot up. And also don't take such crazy evasive maneuvers, especially ones that are going to put you off the tower and cost you a lot of time. There was one time where you were on stacks where you kind of just jumped off because you thought you had to be evasive. There was a time on tower where you jumped off because you thought you had to be evasive. In those positions, like, if they're not returning fire, just take your time, keep the high ground, take your shot. And then let your teammates push up, but follow them so that you can provide support to them. There were a couple of positions where your teammates were pushing up and being successful, but you were far enough back and in a position where you didn't have sight lines where you could help them. So try and put yourself in a position where you're like, okay, they're pushing on the right. Where are they going to get attacked from? Like, how can I defend them? And what's a position I can stand on to defend them from? A lot of the time, it's going to involve high ground. So in general, try to play high ground a little bit more than you have been when you have control of that space.
Okay.
I think that just about covers it, other than, keep yourself alive when you have special.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions for me?
Not really. I think most, like, I've had just trouble with solo queue, obviously, but we're obviously not looking at that right now. But
it's going to be a lot about reading again what your frontliners are doing. Because like they can't tell you what they're going to do, but you're going to be going in behind them anyway. Like, you're a slower weapon, you can't help but be a little bit slower than they are. So you're going to be able to see where they go. And once you've seen where they go, think, what is the position that I can defend them from? What is the position that's like threatens them? And how can I close that down with my weapon? And that should help inform your positioning a little bit more. Something that I am learning, like I've said, is that you kind of have to let your team push in and support them on the push that they make. You can't really initiate for them. You can pop missiles, you can cut off angles for your opponents. You can do a lot of things to make it a lot easier. You can paint their feet with burst bombs, but you can't really push the enemy team back as easily as your frontliners can. So let them initiate the fights and then finish them yourself is kind of the thought process.
Yeah. I also just have like tilt issues on solo queue, but that's another thing.
Yeah. Chara's advice.
Oh yeah.
If you lose 3 games in a row, stop playing. Take a walk, eat some food, drink some water, touch grass, and 10 minutes later think, okay, was I tilted back then? And if the answer is yes, then, assess, am I tilted now? And that probably takes a little bit of time after that as well.
For sure.
But like, just take a break as soon as there's any idea that you might be tilted. Any trigger that you're like, I don't think I'm tilted. Because you never think you're tilted until afterward, until you realize, wait, I was really tilted then. So try and be preemptive about it. Like, as soon as you find yourself like, okay, wait, that's a mistake I don't usually make, or that's more games than I usually lose, that's a time to take a pause and think about whether that might be happening.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions though.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Cool.
to both you and Linkling, who is probably not able to be in the call any longer.
I think they
but
left.
yeah, really appreciate you guys giving us footage. The show would not happen without you guys. So appreciate you
reviewing the footage.
being able to listen to me talk about everything you're doing wrong for like a 45 minutes in front of all of these people.
Yeah, whatever.
Do really appreciate that. My link tree is in the chat, and apparently it's not working on YouTube, so I will manually type it for YouTube as well. This is where you can find my Twitter, my TikTok. You already know I'm on Twitch and YouTube because I'm streaming to them right now, but also my Patreon. I am trying to do this kind of content full time, especially going into Splatoon 3, and any support from the Patreon is much appreciated to help keep this kind of thing going. I'm giving Patreon supporters the ability to choose a number of different things about what content I make next. Things like what weapons I do for the Weapon to X series, what map modes I do for the map mode guides. And I'm trying to come up with as many different things as I can to give you guys more agency as Patreon supporters over the content that I produce. Because I want to give back to you guys as well in appreciation for you maybe helping me do this as my job. I would love to get to that point. But even if you can't support financially, especially on YouTube, subscribing to the channel, liking videos, commenting, that sort of thing, that's a huge, massive help for helping this grow, and putting me in the best position to be as helpful as I can possibly be when the time comes around to help people learn Splatoon 3. So that's all I have to say on that subject. Thank you guys so much for watching. And now we are going to go and yes.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Hang on.
You did not see the chat through the entirety of this, I don't think, but we gotta have big shout outs to Falco Flyer,
Oh, did we get
Undershirt
raided?
Man, and Becca for raiding through those.
We got
spot
that many
reviews.
raids. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you
Let's
peaked at
go.
100 viewers at one point. So
Holy moly.
Oh,
I was
that-
here
as
like,
you should.
can't see this.
I can't. Yeah. Okay. It's official. By next week, I'm committing. I'm saying it on stream right now. I'm going to get notifications up so that I at least have a sound cue when a raid shows up. Because
Uh-oh.
I am so mad that I was not able to at least say hi to all of y'all for raiding. Really, really appreciate you guys coming in and bringing everybody to the channel.
I was very tempted to just come in and be a raid alert myself in the Discord.
Please
but I'm
do.
Like, okay, you're very focused.
There-
and
No.
I
Debbie,
told
I've
them
said
they
this.
couldn't see.
I said this last week. I said interrupt me. I want you to interrupt me when there's something important.
Okay.
Like literally barge in, be like, "Hey, Jem, you're being raided." Because I'm
That'll
sure
be the raid
someday,
alert next
I'm
week.
sure someday I'm gonna forget to have the raid notifications up. It's me. I'm gonna forget these things. And that is something that deserves to be shouted out. Like that is worth interrupting me for.
Okay, I'm just
I
gonna
can,
put up a soundboard
I can
now.
ramble
We
on.
have an alarm bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I will make sure that I get my own raid notifications set up as well, because that is a really easy way for me to spot that and be able to know to turn my attention to it. But so huge thank you to Becca, great streamer. I raid them all the time, and they're doing pretty well for themselves out there on Twitch. So you'll probably see them around the top of the Twitch stream for Splatoon if you go into that category. Play a bunch of different weapons. I don't think they play competitively, but they are definitely playing at a competitive level. So there's still plenty to learn from them. Falco Flyer is a huge mainstay of the competitive community, is a good caster. I've casted with them on Little Squid League most recently, but also a TO for Friday Night Frenzy, which is a mid-level league for competitive teams where they play kind of a round-robin format. Very cool project and something that's sorely needed in the mid-level space. So definitely go and check Falco Flyer out. And I don't know who Undershirt Man is. I think I might have seen his stream once or twice, but I haven't engaged with them an awful lot. But I love that they're here, and
Allow me
check
to
them
tell
out
you
anyway.
something.
And I'll have to go and check them out myself after
Undershirt
this.
Man is also actually did a speed run to X rank, just like you were
Okay.
doing with your YouTube series.
Awesome.
So.
So very similar content, actually. And if you like what I'm doing with Weapon to X series, sounds like that would be a great player to check out. So, with all of that being said, now we have to send the raiding party to somebody else. So, let's see. I want to send you off to a Splatoon player. So as much as I love Blue, and as much as I love Bob, who are both streaming right now, they're not playing Splatoon. Let's go say hi to Barry.
Raid time.
So the raid is starting in Twitch. Oh my goodness, we've got 50-something people already ready to hop over. This is insane. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.